NUFC Early Night News with Gary the Geordie Yam Yam, Andrew Bokey, Christina Cage, and Derek the Mighty Wind. Weekdays from 8 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. USA. NUFC Talk.
Good evening, welcome one and all to NUFC Talk, the early part of the late show with myself, the Geordie Yam Yam, and I've obviously got Tina Tooney with me. I did have the Mighty Win, but I don't know what's happened to him. He's struggling. He's back and forth, and like I say, he will get there. I'm sure he will eventually. We are, obviously, I've just seen there, Betsy's become a member. Thank you ever so much, Betsy.
Oh, Betsy,
for joining us.
Betsy.
Thank you so much for jumping on board. I'm going to show that because he should. What a cracking night last night. Totally enjoyed the football game, even though I suppose to a lot of people it felt like a little bit of a loss.
It was so ugly, and I think it's a big thing that it felt like a loss. I mean, we were playing against Barcelona in the Champions League. We got a 1-1 draw with them, and we feel like it's a loss. I mean, that kind of speaks volumes in itself to how well we performed, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, it was one of those situations for me where you're literally, the way we performed, it was just going to be, are we going to let these guys off the hook and get hit on a counter or something like that where we've lost a little bit of concentration? But, for me, it was a game where it just shows on the day, I think Newcastle can compete with any of them across all of the top 6 European leagues.
Dare we even say that wasn't our first choice 11 as well?
Well, it was. I mean, obviously, who'd have thought Asula would have been up there as a bit of a star of the night? Because I must admit that lad did an amazing job, a really class evening. I'm just going to say good evening to a lot. Kevin Hawthorne, thanks for coming on board. Quinny, Mighty Mag, Jimmy Ray, evening, buddy.
Good evening, Jimmy.
And Mighty Mag's in there as well. So they are catching up. Like I say, we have run over a little bit because the lads doing the Geordie Bias premiere. I was like they were engrossed in their conversation and where everything goes. So we are a couple of minutes late, and apologies. But like I say, before we get into tonight's show, there is a couple of people missing from the panel, as you can see. But we'll muddle on as we go. So from our point of view, what we've got then is people out there in Viewland. A couple of things, like I say, smash that like button for us because, like I say, I can already see there's a few smashed. So continue doing that because, again, we're just trying to give you as much energy as we can from the show. And like I say, the more you do the little things that are free for us, it certainly helps us. Subscribe, ring the bell, things like that. And also, obviously, people out there across the radio that are listening to across the Northeast, welcome on board. And when you get the chance, like I say, come and have a look on YouTube. Like I say, just give us a thumbs up. Even if you've listened to the show, don't have to watch it again. Just give us a thumbs up. We will go through a little bit of the news as we see it. But I suppose what we should always do before we get any further is we'll start the show with my little ditty. So here we go. Good evening, folks, and welcome to the only football show where the emotional roller coaster starts before the referee even finds his whistle. Now, spare a thought tonight for the poor Barcelona fan who typed St James's Park into his phone and ended up in Exeter. Yes, Exeter. An 8,700-seater ground, wondering how Newcastle had managed to sneak into the Champions League with a stadium smaller than Bruno Guimaraes' Instagram following. By the time a steward gently explained the situation, our friend was 6 hours from Tyneside, emotionally committed to a pie and watching Exeter lose to Lincoln instead, which, if we're honest, is probably the most Newcastle-adjacent experience you can have outside the North East. Meanwhile, back at the real St James's Park, Newcastle fans experienced a full emotional bingo card in 96 minutes. Pride, anger, belief, fury, hope, heartbreak, and then that penalty. Italian referee Marco Guida blows for full time before half the stadium has even processed what had happened. Lamine Yamal sends Aaron Ramsdale wrong way. Game over. And if that wasn't enough, the Spanish press have decided Newcastle apparently not exactly the formidable team and have massive football limitations. Lovely. Thanks for that. So tonight, we'll break down the Barcelona drama, talk about the penalty controversy, discuss Arsenal circling Tino Livramento like a seagull near the Greg's pasty, and ask whether Newcastle can still pull off a miracle at the Nou Camp. Strap in, because if you're not Newcastle United fan, can't even be a quiet night. Neither can we. So there you go. That's the start of the show. Like I say, it was an interesting read about a poor Barcelona fan that travelled all the way to Exeter.
I didn't even hear about that until right now.
Yeah, he was wondering where the hell he was. Obviously, he typed it in into his phone and actually got there. Now, Kenny's saying what controversy in the chat there. So I'm going to come straight to that. It wasn't really controversy regarding the penalty, right? So I'm going to cut that myth apart. The controversy come when Yamal took out Louis Hall, that body check. And you know the reasons why it's controversy is because if he'd have got a yellow card, he would have been banned for the Nou Camp.
Yes.
So that is the controversy towards the referee. And like I say, there was a few dodgy decisions throughout the night. I must admit, again, it just always seems to be the Newcastle seems to be getting the runt of the litter when it comes to officiating. What was your thoughts on the match officials last night, Tina? Because for me, like it was a great match, but I think it would have been a better match if we'd have had somebody who could actually officiate the game properly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it came down to another one of them situations where the referee either had an agenda or wanted to be the centre of attention. I mean, the fact that the two players who, in my opinion, should have absolutely been booked was Yamal and Furman, both of which, if they had got a yellow card, would have missed the second leg, I believe. Kind of speaks volumes. And at first I thought, okay, he's just going to let the game run. And for a lot of the times he did. But then when I saw what Tonali got a yellow card for, that's when I was like, oh, this is very sus. I'm not going to have a go at them for the penalty. It was a penalty. Although whether we should have played over the amount of stoppage time that was added and whether that amount of stoppage time should have been added in the first place, I think is questionable. But yeah, the decision, I mean, if you can side rush and leg sweep somebody in an active defence, then we might as well put chain link fences around the pitch and just, put them in boxing gloves and let them go at each other. I mean, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny's right. I mean, the Elanga one as well, that was another one where I can't remember who it was now. I think it was Martin, the left centre-back, literally body-checked Elanga and pushed him out of the pitch. And like I say, a lot of things like that just didn't really seem to pull the referee attention whatsoever. And yet, a very again, we always know a tug on the shirt, the collar or whatever, is always going to be disciplinary. But surely it's got to come both ways. We saw it. At the end of the day, if it's a coming together of bodies chasing the ball, then that's fair enough. The referee can deem that as shoulder to shoulder or whatever. But when you're not looking at the ball, and the one thing for me was the Yamal incident. Not the Martin incident, more likely, but the Yamal incident, it just makes you wonder why the referee didn't pull that one up. Because, like I say, there was no intent of getting the ball. He wasn't even close to getting the ball. And like I say, for me, man of the match by a country mile for me, Louis Hall yesterday. Actually, if he was wearing a light orange shirt, he'd be worth £200 million.
In regards to Lewis Hall, just to kind of put into perspective, because everybody was just talking about this Lamine Yamal, and it was even at our press conference, some Spanish press turned up to ask, how are you going to deal with him? Well, we'll tell you how we're going to deal with him. Lewis Hall's going to keep him in that back pocket for so long that Yamal left St. James's Park with £3.50 in loose change, 2 Parker tickets, and Lewis Hall's keys for his car. Like, that's how you deal with Yamal.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's not. I mean, Battle Axe he's saying there, I mean, we complaining about a yellow card, so someone doesn't play next game. He's a wee bit petty, if as though they can't replace him with a good player. That's not what I mean. It's about being fair. It's about being If you're going to throw and we talk about the Tonali incident, I mean, that was the slightest tug on his arm that you will ever see. And again, had no hesitation whatsoever, the referee.
It was
to
straight
throw a
out.
yellow
It was
card
out before the guy had even hit the floor.
Hit the floor. Yeah,
He
absolutely.
had his, literally, by the time the camera panned at the referee, his card was already in the air, fully extended. Whereas Yamal had just pulled Lewis Hall back with his arm around his, like at least over his chest. Potentially, you could say over his throat. And nothing. There was a free kick, but the referee just kind of let it crack on. And I mean, that could be a decision. I mean, Yamal then scored the penalty. If he had been yellow carded, he would have been missing from the next game. Is there a chance that Barcelona might have taken him off before the end? You know, there's a lot of things that could change. This whole tie hangs in the balance because of that last second equaliser. Can I just say, Yamal giving it the big one, so the celebration after that penalty is pathetic. Like, if I had performed that badly, I wouldn't dare have celebrated. I would have just been like, yeah, I got away with that one, guys. Because that was,
he was ineffective. You know, he was ineffective all evening, wasn't he? And I think that was probably more of relief, if I'm honest with you. You know, it was one of those, I've been at the game for 95 minutes, but look, I only need that 1 minute to produce a bit of class. I mean, I say class. You shouldn't really miss from 12 yards, should you? If you're that, if you're that good. But I mean, and this is the one. Oh, Arsenal 1-1 with Leverkusen, PSG 1-0 up against Chelsea. Is where we are at the moment. So thanks for that, Connor. He's going to keep us updated as we go through the evening. I just think, like I say, there's got to be consistency, and it just seems at this present moment in time, Newcastle. I don't know whether it's because we look like villains wearing black and white shirts. That referees seem to always want to, especially J7. Bless him, J7 can't even sneeze on a pitch without a chance of a yellow card coming his way. So let's get on to, like I say, there's a number of talking points, I suppose, and like I say, I will get you guys out there in Viewerland involved in tonight, because like I say, there's only two of us, so we're going to have to spread the,
we're going to need
news
all of you to help
and the
us
feedback.
With this one.
The feedback across. So for me, the discussion points last night was Newcastle's overall performance. You know, I thought again, I was a little bit perplexed, if I'm honest with you, when I first saw the team sheet. I understood it. I mean, I would have preferred big vault up front. Asula, again, we saw against Man City, didn't really look as though he was involved in the game. But he surprised me last night. He certainly had that bit between his teeth. And again, it looked very much as though what Eddie Howe was starting to do was put that press on. And with Voltemada, unfortunately, you lose that pressing ability. It did unsettle Barcelona a hell of a lot in the first 15, 20 minutes. They didn't know really how to handle us. And the only way they could handle the heat was literally take the heat out of the game. And that was by slowing it right down, wasting as much time. And that was another thing that I couldn't understand, is because the referee never actually, even in the first half, there was a number of times where he allowed them to take far more time on the ball in those dead moments than I've seen.
Throw-ins especially.
Throw-ins, it was throw-ins from the goalkeeper.
Furious about the length of time that they were taking, which is it next season that they're bringing that rule about time wasting from throw-ins? Is that not something that's been implemented? That's next season, isn't it?
Yeah. Mighty Win is with us in spirit. The tech gremlins are Barcelona referee standard. There you go. Like I say, bless him, he's having some tech issues. We can see him, we just can't hear him, or he can't hear us. So he is trying to get it sorted in the background. Yeah, I'm sure they'll be there somewhere. Batlax is saying Ilanga turned up. Best we've seen him in a black and white top, but all was on another level. Was unreal at attacking and defending. And I think that, when you look, and usually as a coach, or manager, whichever way you want to look at it, you look at the spine of a team. So you go through the middle strength of your team, and then your peripheries are there to do individual technical type of work, your Langas and things like that. Pace, Anthony Gordon pace. Harvey Barnes is a bit more, I wouldn't say technical, but he's got that gift where he can just come off the blind side on his arc. And again, yesterday I didn't think he was at his best, but again, 88th minute, he pops up with a goal. So even when you're playing not to the strengths of the team, sometimes just by, again, the gaffer could have pulled him. We were all questioning who's going to come off first, and we all said it'd probably be Harvey Barnes because he just wasn't there. But the gaffer,
Yeah, I wouldn't have disagreed.
kept him there. Yeah, the gaffer kept him on, and he saw something in there that we all didn't. And like I say, thank God he did, because like I say, even though he mishit it, he hit it in with his calf. It's still, off the chin of Garcia, went into the back, side netting. So it was but it was a great ball from Murphy as well.
It was
Again,
amazing.
you think taking Alanga off, Alanga had the makings on that left hand side, and I really did think, that it was one of his best performances in a black and white shirt. Absolutely right with that one.
He was very lucky not to get an assist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Asula was like a chin away from scoring a goal with another great cross from the right from Alanga. That's twice against Barcelona. He's hung one on a plate for somebody. And he was even having a bit of confidence to have a couple of shots as well, which I love to see. And he did have a moment where he kind of fumbled on the ball, and when I saw that, I was like, oh, I hope that doesn't affect his confidence too much. But he was asking for the ball again straight away. And just on Asula, what I loved about him, just before we move on too quickly from Will Asula, because I did see a few people, like obviously a lot of people were questioning why he was in the team, and then people have had a little bit to say about whether he was effectual. When you've got a centre forward who's pulling out to the channels the way that Will Asula is, like his movement and his confidence to get into those spaces, that's going to cause troubles for any team, and it changes our front line. But I think we've all on this channel at one point or another said that what we would like to see more from Newcastle's front line is a little bit of fluidity. Maybe Barnes and Gordon, for example, swapping sides, or Walter or Whistler maybe pulling out to one of the wings, and we get that with Gordon. We haven't really seen that with Walt and Whistler yet, but from Asula, we absolutely get that. And he loves a step over, just a random step over for no reason whatsoever. But I absolutely love what Asula, and last night epitomised why.
Like I say, I think the beauty of this story is there's nobody, I think, knowing what's going to go on. He's got to be both feet, and that's another thing, and that is where Elanga should really come to town, because Elanga, again, works really hard on his dominant foot, which is his right. But when you actually look at his left-hand side, his left foot is nearly as good, and he's been doing that. I don't know whether you saw the video that he did, and it looked like our Michael was in the crowd. If you haven't seen it,
I've seen that it's in the chat. I do need to watch it.
Yeah,
unfortunately, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. Good point here from Kenny. If he kept Barnes on, no extra 30 seconds, then there would be no penalty. Can you? It makes a bit of sense as well, doesn't it? Did the referee add that little bit of extra time on because of the late substitution by Newcastle?
I think the referee was always going to let Barcelona finish that attack. They were coming forward. If it had happened to us where we were in that position and the referee blew a whistle, and it has happened to us already this season at least once that I can remember, we wouldn't be too happy about it. I think the referee was always going to let that attack finish. And I don't think the Barnes, although it was probably a little bit strange to make that change at that point in the game, the commentators seem to think that it was to get Barnes a round of applause. It was, we're never going to know if that 30 seconds would have still been there if Barnes hadn't came off. But
exactly.
I'm not going to have a go at Eddie for yesterday at all.
No. It's a good point. Like I say, this is like I said, these are the things. To be fair, like I said, I don't think it was the referee's fault. I don't think it was the substitution's fault. I think at the end of the day, if we'd have literally stepped out and played a little bit more towards them, not trying to hold on to that, win last minute, go to the edge of our own box, would Danny Almo have actually got to the chance of the ball? If we'd have just kept the press for that next 30 seconds, 45 seconds. And that, for me, is the beauty of football. You can look at so many different aspects of that moment in the game. And what if, but, all these little question marks after the event. And I'm sure, at the end of the day, I'm sure that every single player walking off that field of play, you even seen Trippier, didn't you, in the dugout, telling the lads it was gone, it's finished. Was that signal the wrong thing now? Because we did go as soon as you saw that on TV, we did go very defensive minded. Did that send out the wrong signal?
I'm not sure because like literally moments before that, we had a free kick in like the center of the box, and Dan Burn was a little bit questioning whether we should go forward or whether we shouldn't, and Eddie and Trippier were both telling him to get forward. So I'm not sure if if we actually did make a mental switch. I think the fact was by that attack, if we had defended that attack, we go to the new camp 1 goal up. So I think if we hadn't have been trying to defend that at that point, there would have been question marks about that. It was look if Chow stretches just a little bit more, he touches that ball, it's no penalty. Yamal just has another disappointing moment in it on a under the spotlights at St James's. So I don't think we made any like wrong decisions. I don't think Trippier had said that it was over. Um, I think I don't want to try to like put words in his mouth or anything, but potentially he was just saying like, just look, if we stop this, it's over, kind of thing. I wouldn't have thought that we were ready to switch off. I know that the lads looked absolutely downhearted by the end of the game. Um, I think a couple of them looked quite angry, almost with each other, which I was disappointed to see. But I get it; like they had just played their hearts out and absolutely ran the game. Like, let's not make any bones about it. If we had won that game 3-0 last night, it wouldn't have been more than we had deserved because we did, especially for a large part of the second half, we dominated that match. So I can understand how disappointing it is, and I know a lot of the fans are also just as disappointed that we didn't finish the game with a win. But I think the lads, once they've like got into the dressing room and maybe went home and had a bit of a bath and relaxed themselves and then contemplated on it, I'm hoping that they're going to take a lot of positives from that performance.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, there's a number of things. You're absolutely right. I think some wrong decision making at the time, delivers the ball, and bless him, Connor's just thrown me one straight away, which was the Alanga cross for Barnes, where he put it straight, virtually cross to Garcia to grab. Instead of playing the ball while he was outside the box, he took another touch inside the box.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
remember that
if he'd
one.
have played the ball square, because Darby Barnes had already beaten Arujo, who was their right back. He was already in front of him. So a ball literally from outside the box, angled towards the 18-yard box and the penalty spot, somewhere in the 16, somewhere in the region of the 20-yard mark. If he'd have played that ball there, I don't think Harvey Barnes would have had a one-on-one. That would have been the situation. I'm not saying he would have scored. I'm just saying the chance of that cross becoming better, as in the ability to get a shot at goal. And I think that was, for me, the only disappointing part of the evening for me was part of the referee, but as a Newcastle fan, I just think in front of goal we were a little bit out of the ordinary in front of goal. It was as if we were a little bit snatchy at times. It was so keen to get a goal or at least get a lead to go to the new camp. You could see there was just a little bit too much pressure on the lads when it really counted, and you could see that come the start of the second half, the lads literally come out of there, and it was Barcelona who started really well. And literally within the first 20 minutes of the second half, Barcelona had overtook us regarding attempts at goal, on target, blah, 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 So you could see all that effort, all that guile and that the lads would put in, unfortunately, just didn't really do them the favour that they required. There's a couple of really nice things in there. Terry Bilton, I'm going to put this on. Didn't get home until midnight yesterday. I was really proud of the players and the fans last night. Still a great result, and we have to go in with huge belief we can still do a job. Totally agree, mate. I don't think there's a person out there that doesn't agree with that one. There's a lot of people that I noticed though on social media post the event, and some in our chat, to be fair, obviously starting to point the fingers towards like the Anthony Gordons for being a little bit skinny when it comes to passing the ball, and he had he was stuck the ball under his feet. He tried to get a shot off when he could have passed it. Listen, like I said, it's easy for us in the stand or watching it on TV. When you're there on the moment, you're on the penalty spot. You've got multiple orange shirts around you. You've got the ball at your feet. You're trying to dig something out. I mean, listen, I am going to give the benefit of the doubt just to the moment and what was there for the team to take. It wasn't. I don't think he meant to be selfish. I just think that was his task. He was the one up front, and I think he just tried to do something with the ball, and it just never worked. And a back heel in the end didn't come. But I mean that could have rebounded to a black and white shirt. Tonali, from the D. Could have smacked it towards him. Davey has pulled a good one here, Tina. And I was going to ask you your points because to me, as Anthony Gordon seems to be, I'm going to say he's been excellent up front, but Wissa hasn't certainly played well for Newcastle up top. Real Madrid 1-0 against Manchester City. When you look at Wissa and his current form for Newcastle. As Davey's saying there, he scored most of his goals for Brentford, playing out from the left-hand side, cutting in. Anthony Gordon plays out there normally. Obviously, with Harvey Barnes, again, Harvey Barnes is the arrow man. He seems to be the one that creates a lot of goals. It would be difficult to drop him at the moment. But has Davey got a point? Do you start to say to Wissa to get your energy back? Because I think that's, everybody keeps on questioning, has he got fitness back? Has he got match sharpness and things like that? Has he got a point to say, look, listen, let's start him out on the left-hand side and see what he does? My only concern with that is what type of defensive role Wissa has.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that more question marks would be around that with us doubting his fitness as well. Like, you've got to be at your fitness if you're going to be a forward who is going to help out defensively. There's definitely a fair shout for him to start out on the left, especially if we're going to play Wissa and Walter Mata. We've even seen Gordon being an absolute terror in the centre. So the biggest issue with putting Wissa on the left for me is that, does that mean that you're putting Barnes on the right, which means that you're not going to be seeing Asula or Alanga or Murphy? Especially Alanga and Murphy have been big parts of the team this season. There's a chance if Wissa could do, like, as I mentioned with Asula, just running into the channels, like, just because you start at the centre doesn't necessarily mean you need to stay, like, glued to the centre. Like, him and Gordon could interchange between the left and centre as many times as they want through a game. And I think potentially making Wissa the one who starts on the left could have the added advantage of there's a lot of pressure on strikers at Newcastle United, especially when you're given, I mean, that number 9's a heavy number for Newcastle if you look at some of the players who've worn it, not least of which is the all-time leading goal scorer in Premier League history. So, when you put kind of in that centre place, and you've been in the Premier League long enough to know the history of that, and you've got all of those 52,000 screaming Geordies, maybe it's part of what his issue is maybe it is becoming a little bit overwhelming, as well as his fitness being in the position that it's in. So pulling him out to the left might give him a little bit more, like, it might just like ease the pressure a little bit, give him a little bit more fluidity, give him a little bit more space as well, while he is trying to get a few more touches. I mean, in the centre, him and Walter Mata have been, like, bullied by defences this season. They're getting the ball, they're not getting a second on the ball. Whereas if you're out on the wing, and this is the thing that I say about when people say, oh, we should play Barnes as a 10, my argument is sometimes, well, does Barnes need that extra minute of space that you get from being on the wing? So maybe putting Wissa out to the left would give him that extra space, and then as he builds strength and confidence and fitness, that could then be the time to start playing a bit more fluidly with him.
Yeah, like I say, I think there's a number of situations. I mean, I was just having while you were talking there, and apologies, I wasn't ignoring you. I was just having a quick look at the shot. Even in the second half, we had so many shots to their 4 Even though, like I say, they did catch up with us at one point, we still actually took them to task. Again, the second half was a lot better on target than the first half. Put it that way. You're
Madrid are
absolutely
now
right.
2-0 up, so that'll be good for us though, because that means that we can knock Barcelona out of the Champions League, and then we'll do the same to Real Madrid. And then the
Yeah,
Spanish
exactly.
media, if they're going to hate us
But
anyway, we might as well give them a reason to hate us. Because coming at us and saying, "Oh, Newcastle, not that impressive," we just made the team that is dominating your league this season look bang average, and we made the player who is hailing as the next Messi look like he belongs in a park with school kids. Like, how are you going to come at us?
I love that. I love the enthusiasm of you. Um, I mean, this mighty win has agreed with you. Spot on, Tina. Byrne was told to go forward, and I don't think that was wrong, even though, yet again, it cost us big stuff. But I don't think that part, in actual fact, did cost us, because Byrne was back
Yeah.
in contention for their penalty award. And like I say, I think what did cost us was the fact that, whether that was the instructions from the bench, like I say, you saw Trippier, telling the lads it was over. Just whether that was the fact that they did then deploy that really low block, which never effective. It's never effective as a Newcastle as much as it is elsewhere, as we've seen when we've done it. Foxy
Newcastle have
is in the
famously
chat.
never been a fantastic defensive team, though, have we? Except for that
No,
one
no,
season
not
under
at all.
Rafa Benitez. Except for that, we've never. I mean, even if you look back at the sides with like Kevin Keegan's entertainers, we famously just scored as many goals as we could because we couldn't defend to save our lives. And even
No.
under Bobby Robson, which was again one of our best technical sides, we had Titus Bramble and players like that in centre back, so we still didn't have a good defensive.
Have you seen this one, Tina?
I did. That's what I was smiling at. Tina in cute. I mean, the chat speaks for itself.
Yeah, indeed. Sorry, I didn't want to disrupt you there, but it just made me laugh.
No, I love it.
Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right, and I think sometimes we are some guilty of our own downfall at times. Like I said, we've played so well for 95 minutes or so, 94 minutes, and then we just go and open the door. And like I said, it seemed nothing. It's like a bit ball. But Danny Almo, I said, a lad coming off the bench, the quality that he has, he did turn Chow inside out, unfortunately, and Chow did dangle a leg. And
It happens.
I mean,
oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, for me, there was it wasn't, like I say, controversial. It wasn't like the PSG one where it bounced up at Tino's hand, which was close to his body type of situation, and that was given. This was it was a clear penalty. He dangled a leg, and the lad, Almo hit it and went over. It's up to the referee then to make the decision, and I think that is the problem. And again, there wasn't a single Newcastle player disagreed with the decision.
No, I mean, I don't think you could disagree with the decision. I mean, there was clear contact. It was a penalty. Look, when you play against players of that quality, you're going to get done. And it's like one of the things that I was thinking when I heard people having a bit of a go at us against for the performance against Manchester City. And I'm thinking, look at the players who are doing this. Like, it's harder to defend against world-class players than it is to defend against Barry from around the corner. Like, you've got, and Barcelona's players, although we did make them look bang average, that was because we played so well. But those players are who they are because of what they can do. And sometimes you're going to get done by players like that. It is what it is. I mean, it's like you can put a million strategies in place to deal with prime Lionel Messi. Good luck getting any one of those strategies to work.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. And like I say, just some updates on some of the scores. Chelsea are now 1-1 with PSG. Bodo Glimt are 1-0 up against Sporting. So there you go. So yeah, some interesting games going on this evening in the Champions League. So the question is, I suppose, was it defensive discipline late in games again that let us down? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say, again, it's just that switch off. Let's keep what we've got. And teams like Barcelona, we've seen it so many times, even lesser teams than Barcelona. Newcastle don't look solid enough for me when it comes to playing defensive roles. They are so much better. Again, it's that old adage, it's what I grew up with. The best way of defending is attacking and getting at them higher up the field. And we did to Barcelona what Barcelona do to a lot of teams, try and win the ball as high up the field as we can. And like I said, when you see the quality of some of these Barcelona players misplacing balls as we did last night because of the pressure, because of the press, it shows it works. And that to me should have continued for the 90 plus minutes. I don't think they should have retaliated back to the 18-yard line as we did to allow that ball to come through. But like I said, it's all what ifs and buts. And for me, when you look at it, there was a question thrown at me today. Did Newcastle outplay Barcelona? So that is the question that I want to throw into the audience, if I may. Two words, yes or no. If you think Newcastle outplayed them, then listen, I'm sure there's going to be
only pick one of the words though. Don't put both.
Yeah, only pick one of the words. Don't put both of them.
Give
in
us
the
a
chat.
chance.
There may be Geordie bias on this, but I want you to be as honest as you saw the game last night. Did you think Newcastle actually outplayed Barcelona and let them off the hook? Because to me, I think that is exactly what happened. I think Newcastle missed absolute chances to put this game not to bed, because I don't think you can ever go to Nou Camp. I've seen Barcelona come, from a 3-goal deficit before. So it's not as if you would have gone in there, 3-0 up and thought you'd won it. But what I'm saying is it would have certainly given you a healthier look going to the Nou Camp. And to me, the other one, was it robbery or just football being football? Well, it's just football being football in my eyes. You take your foot off the gas for a couple of seconds, and unfortunately, things just turn literally on a sixpence, especially when you're a Newcastle fan. Anyway, so yeah, while you guys are having the chance to throw that into the chat, it looks like that was a normal Barca away performance, to be honest. Struggle versus Bilbao, Girona, Albacete, Slavia Broj, Chelsea, Sevilla, Rayo. This is not Messi's Barcelona. They are there to be got at when they play away. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Foxy. Like I said, they do, like I say, like to press on the high low. And when we know Hansi Flick chooses to play that way, it's very much a Spudsy-esque, if you like, when they play it. But obviously they've got better players than Spurs. But there's people saying yes, we did outplay them, and was I saying hello, sexy Yummy and Butch Tina. Oh, there you go.
Butch Tina. Okay.
What more can I say? Davey saying that Yamal is quoted today as saying as soon as he got the ball there was 3 players on him. He said, "I don't know how Bruno survives in the Premiership." Well, I think that just shows you the difference.
Yamal, it was just Lewis Hall, mate. There was just
I'm
one of them.
I didn't see a couple of times.
It was just Lewis Hall.
I saw it a couple of times. Harvey Barnes and J7 get across there, but that's only because Araujo was on tail. So, like I say, Monkey Sputum is saying Barca found Eddie today asking for Yamal back because he was still in Hall's pocket.
In Hall's pocket.
And I think that is as good as it gets. But I mean, in my eyes, we did outplay Barca. Just didn't take the chances. So let's have a look at what
there was that we didn't necessarily take chances. We definitely outplayed them. There was a couple of shots that were a little bit weaker than they should have been. A couple of chances we couldn't quite reach. But I don't think this is one of those things where Win would come on and say we didn't finish our dinner. I don't think that's the case last night. I think we outplayed them and we were unlucky to have not beaten them. Like, there wasn't, except for there was a Malanga shot that was a bit weak. There was a Barnes shot that was a bit weak. And except for that, it was near chances that it didn't work out for us. And sometimes in football that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I said. I just think sometimes it's the pressure of the cooker. You put that little bit more emphasis on that final shot, and you just don't get the right contact on it, and it just makes you look a little bit silly. I've just seen the Pedri on Joe Linton quote. Now I understand why Premier League fans do say I wouldn't survive in the English Premier League. The physicality is insane. No free spaces to turn, especially when you are around Joe Linton. His physics alone scares me, not to even talk of the tackles he was making. I just had to make sure I left the pitch without sustaining an injury, says Pedri.
Are
But
you
again,
going to get chinned by Joelinton? Like, I mean, it is what it
yeah,
is.
absolutely. Davey saying, he was brilliant against Yamal, and he was outstanding. And like I say, that I'm sure puts a few more chings on that. I've just heard the mighty win in the background there.
Are you about to be joined
are you
by the
back with us?
legend himself?
Yeah, I can hear him. Can you hear me, Mighty Win? No, he can't. I think he's
I'm going
got
to take
Chris.
that as a no.
Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
got Chris.
Oh,
Hey, I can hear you.
hey.
I can hear you. Are you coming on board, lad?
Hallelujah.
Hey, there you
Look
go.
who it is. The
There
team's
you
back
go.
together.
What more can I say?
Except there is one person conspicuous by his absence, almost as if he's just bottled it a little bit because of how well Newcastle played last night. I'm not going to name any names, but all I'm saying is to check the title.
Yeah, he's not going to bottle it.
I think I've done that one before.
Absolutely, Mighty. I didn't quite catch up with you for yesterday's game. Your thoughts, mate?
I thought we were absolutely magnificent for 90 minutes. It was just Liverpool all over again. Loved it. Loved every minute of it. And when, as the message I put in the chat before there, when, the commentary team, because I've watched it back since, and the commentary team was saying, Dan Burns literally asking, should I go forward or go back? And they were both telling him forward.
Yeah.
And
they're throwing that ball forward, don't they?
I was all for it, and but yet again, we're done. I can totally understand the logic. If we can get 2 goals, that it's a completely different perspective from one goal. And with 90 seconds left or whatever, can it really happen again? Well, it's Newcastle United. Of course it can happen.
Of course it
again.
can. Yeah, you can never say never.
No, I mean, I honestly thought the joy around the stadium last night when that goal went in was just, priceless.
You're right.
If you could bottle that, cocaine would go out of business.
Oh, absolutely. I say I've watched the game and commentating, and then you don't really get into it, or you don't see a lot of the game because you're concentrating so much on the game. But watched it again while I've been working today, and I must admit, the noise at the ground was phenomenal. I'm surprised you've got a voice, mate. Never mind anything else.
It was just about.
Speaking of things I'd like to bottle, though, there was just a super chat from Wazza, which is another thing I would love to be able to bottle. The feeling of hearing that super chat go off in our ears.
There you go, then. I did say Yamal would be talking about Hall Wednesday. There you go. Thanks, Wazza. As always, superstar, buddy. Interesting one now regarding scores. Real Madrid 3, Man City 0, and Valverde's got a hat-trick.
Got that on at the minute.
Yeah, so it looks like Man City have got a real tough task at the Etihad to pull that one back. And again, it says here, look, Foxy's saying Prem side's not beating all the teams from the Farmers League. That's going on, Win. What's going on, Win?
Madrid beat Tottenham, of course, hammered them, and that was a funny old carry on, wasn't it, when he took his goalkeeper off?
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. That was. Yeah,
that's
it was crazy.
Over for that goalkeeper. Like, how do you recover from that? Like, you've just conceded 3 goals, and you're like, "Fine, I need to get my head." And the City manager's like, "Come here, sit down, just sit there, face the corner, and think about what you have just done." Is Tudor getting sacked then? Has that happened, or?
I haven't heard anything, mate. To be fair, but I haven't looked at
Eddie.
No. I haven't looked in any of the Premier League news, to be fair. Bodo Glimt are 2-0 up now against Sporting.
Bodo Glimt are some team, like.
Yeah, they certainly are.
There were
They certainly
absolute
are.
jokes at the start of this competition, and now all of a sudden they're just blowing teams away.
Yeah, there's a lot of
PSV
controversy.
2-1 up against Chelsea.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of controversy tonight on the Madueke dive that got them the penalty, got them awarded a penalty in Leverkusen.
I
Certainly,
was going to come on to that. Leverkusen thought they'd done in Newcastle
yeah.
against the mighty Arsenal, and Bush, 89th minute.
Yeah, and somebody's put in the chat that Warsaw have sacked their manager tonight, and maybe I should go forward. My knees have gone, man.
The Polish team.
No. Well, I mean, to be fair, the way I talk, yeah, I might as well be Polish to some, because no bugger understands us when I go like that. It's really weird because, like I say, it is an interesting one. Yeah, I saw it earlier on, and I'm thinking, oh, are you asking me to join up? But no, is the answer. My days in football are over, apart from doing this. What I would say, if I can, I wanted to go over to a couple of the Spanish papers, because what makes me laugh was the Spanish papers weren't exactly handing Newcastle sympathy cards. As Diarro basically said, if this had been a stronger opponent than Newcastle, Barcelona would have suffered a serious defeat. But Newcastle are only so good. Meanwhile, the Mundo Deportivo went even further, saying Newcastle performance exposed their enormous footballing limitations. So my questions to you two, is this arrogance from the Spanish media, or are they simply stating the reality of the level gap? Does Newcastle still lack Champions League experience in key moments? So there's the three questions I want to throw at you. What's your thoughts?
No me asusto, ya de nada.
Thank you very much.
That's for them. They can listen to that. They'll know what I've said.
Yeah, Kenny saying Warsaw's in the Midlands. If you can't tell my accent by now.
Okay, I didn't hear the L.
Not Warsaw. Yeah, it's a silent L.
I said Warsaw. I was like, oh, the pool we're talking about. And then, okay, I understand that.
Yeah, I always say it's from Poland because it feels like it.
But yeah, I mean, the Spanish media are saying that. Okay, so we are having a torrid season. Barcelona are top of La Liga, so they're talking about us being exposed as limited football. When our left back, who has he even turned 20 yet? And he absolutely pocketed their best player, right?
One of allegedly the world's best players.
Exactly.
According to Bruno.
So if we are limited, then what does that make the rest of the world? Because Barcelona came in, fair enough, it's away from home, but they're Barcelona. They played their first team. We were missing our first choice right back, who's still struggling for fitness. Missing our first choice centre back, more than likely, who's also, back in the garage. Missing our captain and a player who we do not win games without. And we started with Will Asula, who up until 3 weeks ago, or not even a week, up until this time last week, was a literal walking meme. Like, how are you going to say we were limited? Guys, that wasn't even our final form. You're going to find out when we come to Spain and show you, and I'll say this in Spanish for them, cero miedo. Win? Oh, sorry, there was a super chat from Boki as well. I mean, not Boki, the other one.
It was. It's a Boki glimpse. Oh, Defo Dark Horses. Worth a bet. I love it.
Glimpse, that's what I'm calling him from now on.
Yeah, Boki glimpse. What's your thoughts, Win? I just want to hear your Spanish.
yeah, say it in Spanish, Win.
That's the best, por favor.
Yeah, exactly. That's as much as I know.
Fair.
Yeah, que te un paquete de tigrillos. That's all I can say, and that's all I need to say.
What more do you need?
Go on, then.
As far as what they're saying, the Spanish press, they're probably correct to a degree.
That we didn't take our chances.
I'm win out now, like.
We definitely didn't finish our dinner. Sula could have had a hat-trick in the first half. And as regards, yet again, sadly, game management. But, you know, am I anti that? Nah. Like I say, I felt the same coming out last night as I did coming out from the Liverpool game. You know, we got beat that game. We threw a lead away this time. But it was just
full of pride.
magnificent.
Yeah, just full of pride.
Absolutely. You know,
that's how I was last night. To me, it was still a win.
Brimful. We played them off the park.
Yeah, absolutely.
For 90 minutes.
Yeah, I'm full of that one, mate. I'm absolutely full of that one. Like I said, you know, it must feel like a loss to a lot of people, and I understand that. I mean, I watched Chris, bless him, banging the table and head in his hands in the moment with frustration, and I was smiling. And my missus said, "What's the matter with you?" You know, because I said, "What a game of football that was." You know, just what a game of football. And like I say, she's not a football person whatsoever. But I tell you, some of Louis Hall. We talk about Louis Hall. I mean, I did see on X some of his contributions to the game last night. I mean, now this is Louis Hall's last night, right? And Connor, bless him, he's just pulled this one out for me. Top 5 league under 21 fullbacks. Defensive duels 1. He was first. Interceptions first. That was possession assisted. Shot blocked first. Possessions won first. Progressive actions first. Crosses to the box first. Forward passes completed first. Progressive passes completed first. Now, there you go.
I'll tell you one that's not there. I bet he's first for it. Headed duels.
He did win a few of them, actually, which I was surprised at.
He does it week after week. For a little kid, the number of headed duels he wins is absolutely incredible. And yet again last night, and I've banged on about this, after a few games, the protection he got from the referee was an absolute disgrace. They kicked him from pillar to post. That's happened on more than one occasion this season now. When he's been our, you know, best player by a long way, and he's had no protection at all.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I just loved the Bruno Guimaraes comment on his social media group. All he's got is a picture of Louis Hall, best in the world with a love heart. And I thought that was just absolutely fantastic. In his recuperation, somebody's asked if he's back for the Mackham game. Apparently, he's on track, but whether he'll win, I don't know. But win the race, I don't
Eddie
know.
on track.
Yeah, well, Eddie's on track. Yeah, exactly.
No,
Bruno.
Is that the Eddie on track? Meaning could be
like the Lewis Miley. Oh yeah, it's just a dead leg. He'll be back in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah,
and
exactly.
then it's like 3 months later, like that SpongeBob meme, like still injured.
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
a comment there from Lucky Singing in the chat. Sorry to just put in there. I just want to point out, because he does say, Christina, you should be proud yesterday. I'll tell you now, I am very, very proud of Newcastle United's performance yesterday. The fans, the manager, and each and every one of those players. There was not a single player who I have a bad thing to say against. From Joe Linton, Ramsey, Hall, Asula, Elanga, all of these players to me were absolutely fantastic yesterday, and I could not be prouder. I didn't even feel I mean, obviously I felt downhearted that we threw away that goal, but even after that went in and that final whistle blew, when I just got over it after a couple of seconds, the only thing I felt was absolute beaming pride for last night.
Yeah, to coin a phrase here, he's saying Miley himself said he was targeting the Barca game, and I think that's pre-season 26-27. Because at this present moment in time, we don't know where he's going to be. I mean, listen, I think there's been some absolutely amazing praise for Louis Hall. And for me, I put him under Hall played like a Churchillian bulldog, snap, snarl, and absolutely fearless. That is exactly what I saw of him last night. He was excellent. The Churchillian bulldog. There you go. There's one for you. I certainly, like I say, I'm not going to go over the penalty incident far too much, but I do want to go because I'm looking at the time and I want to come on to a segment that was brought up earlier on. And obviously, Boki got his chores into it, and I wanted Boki in the chat tonight. To be fair, so we can discuss it further. But he's not here, so we'll discuss it anyway.
What?
Christina Jail, you know why? Says Phil.
I do know
Christina,
why. It's
what's going on?
Because I wound them up for about half an hour on the after show yesterday after I've had a bottle of Malbec. to be fair, at first it was a misunderstanding about an updated rule. There's a bit of a grey area in Rule 11, which is the offside rule, as to what constitutes deliberate action versus the deflection when it comes off the goalkeeper. And then when I looked up and there was a bit of a grey area there, and it was like, okay, there's a bit of a grey area. But by that point, I had already got to a certain point, so I was just like, no, I'm a bottle of wine and we're going to do this all night. So yeah, no, deserved. I have given you comment a light there, Phil. I apologise for being an absolute brat for 45 minutes last night.
Bless you. There you go, Phil. She's apologised and she is going in the slammer. Have you done it, Win?
Trying.
I don't think we've got the buttons on this one.
I could say, yeah. I got... I'm leaving it to Win. He's getting there. I can see the bars being made. There you go.
There we go.
There you go. You have got room below and above, so.
I'm sneaking out of this.
Yeah, exactly.
Not in this top though, because it's like 6 times too big.
if you could limbo under that, you're a better gal than me. Listen, there's been a lot of talk again. Arsenal now seem to be realistically able to tempt Livramento away. That's the reports that we're getting. So if that's the case, we know there's massive interest with Pep and Manchester City. It now seems as though Arsenal and Arteta are the front runners for Livramento, and they are looking to pay decent wage for him. So what would you consider for Livramento to be a decent wage?
Oh. I mean, I would say, north of 85 for potential. But now he's down to 2 years on his contract. So, I don't know, 80? Well, can you understand why there appears to be so much interest in Livramento and none at all that I've seen anywhere for Lewis Hall?
That is weird, actually.
Could this be something to do with the fact that the various agents who are involved have been in touch with Tino's dad, and he said open to all offers, and they've been in touch with Lewis Hall's agent, who've said, look, he's going nowhere. Could that be the reason? Because, all the performances this season, since Lewis Hall came back from injury, probably in about 7 out of 10 games, he's been the best player on the pitch by a long way. So it begs the question: why is nobody? Why is there no? Why is Fabrizio Romano not saying, such and such is after him, such and such is after him, in the way that they always do with our good players? And yet it would appear that this isn't happening with Lewis Hall. Are they contacting whoever it may be and simply being told, you're wasting your time? Because I would love to think that that's the case.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was going to say. In my romantic Newcastle United loving heart, I want to believe it's because Lewis Hall has no intentions of ever leaving this football club, and his representatives have said that. And that's until somebody proves that that's not the case. That's what I'm holding on to the hope for. Because it is crazy. Because I had said when people were saying about, sorry, I'll let you read that super chat.
That's right.
Yummy, I've texted you the El Toro for win, and I've put it on the screen for you. There you go. El Toro.
Cheers, was.
Cheers, was that? Love
Thank
that
you
one.
for the super chat one. Was that?
Ah, we got the music on again. We dance to the beat. I don't know why that always happens, if I'm honest, when that gets moved across. Let's crack on with, because I say we've got running out of time to a degree. I agree with what you were saying, though. I think the likes of Louis Hall should be up there with conversations anyway, even though, like you say, I don't think there's a chance in hell that he'll be sold. And I think unless they are willing, even though he's got 2 years, I think this is the absolute ideal situation for Newcastle because it's still in Newcastle's favour. So they can still demand a decent wage for Tina, depending on where he goes, obviously, what his dad chooses, because obviously he's left it in the hands of his father. But there's a decent conversation that came out today about Malik Chow, and they reckon that if he plays for Germany in the World Cup, and I have every faith that he'll be picked in his form, even though, like I say, he did hang the leg for the penalty. I don't think that was, I'm not going to point the finger of blame for that. I do think he will be picked. And if that happens, they reckon his valuation could rise massively. So is Chow a long-term starter for Newcastle? That's the question. Or could the club cash in on the value if it skyrockets?
If you're asking me if I would cash in, then I think the answer is probably yes.
Oh.
Because what we've seen from Malik Chow, and don't get me wrong, he's a very, very, very good centre-back. But in, multiple games, we've seen him cost us goals, important goals. And I didn't think he had that good a game last night either, by the way. I didn't think
he was bad. There you go, Christina. Phil F has loosed you out, sweetie. So you are now released.
Thank you for forgiving me.
From those chains. There you go. Thanks, Phil.
Yes,
too
man.
nice for jail.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I didn't think he had a bad game, mate, to be fair. I thought he had a decent game. I don't think, if I'm honest with you, the midfielders was the choice for me yesterday. I thought the midfielders were battlers yesterday,
I was going to do my Gary and ask you a question.
Go on.
What were your thoughts when you saw the lineup?
It was a gamble for me, especially with the Sealer up front, having watched him at Man City. But he proved me wrong, mate. I thought he was outstanding. I mean, listen, in front of goal, it was the usual Asula. But I thought he ran the line really well. Yeah, he ran the line really well. And he got opportunities. I mean, like I say, if his first touch was better, and I think that was the problem with Asula, and I think that's going to be the problem per se with him going forward. I don't think, at the age he is now, if he ain't got that first touch out of your feet, and again, there was that one where he knocked it wide of the stick when he was clear on goal. If he'd have knocked it towards goal, his body line would have blocked the player behind him actually catching up with him. So, like I say, it's a learning curve for him, and it's a great learning curve for him because it proves to everybody that there's a player there. I say, but he's nowhere near the finished article. But the player for me that really shone was Ramsey. I thought, we're talking about Louis Hall, but I thought Ramsey in the middle of the park actually took the game to Barcelona. He was like box to box. It allowed Tonali to sit comfortably with J7 at times. There was always two in the hollow, and then J7 would go on, and it was Ramsey that would sit alongside Tonali. Very, very clinical the way they lined up yesterday. One left side goal, one right side goal. But Ramsey out of the three shone for me yesterday, even though I thought it was a compact midfield three that obviously dropped into five towards the end of the game when they were having a breather and allowed Barca to play football in front of them. And that, to me, is what I said. That if any defence looks great when your midfielders are working hard, because it is the gateway to opening doors, obviously. And that's where, if you look at from our creation, we were so solid and compact in the middle. A lot of our work down the right-hand side, especially with Trippier feeding Alanga, was second to none as well. You know, I mean, there was a lot of times where, for me, again, choices when it comes to it, we were just explaining before you came on air, chose the wrong choice at times, Alanga, for me. Passed the ball to Barnes a little bit earlier. I think there was an opposition there before taking another touch, and then it was too close to Garcia when he got the actual cross, towards Barnes. So again, it's all about small margins, and that's what makes those players better in certain areas. But I couldn't fault the 11 at all for effort.
No, I think the effort was definitely there. And that again now begs the question, why?
Well, this is...
Play like that against the big teams, let's say, and they can't play like that against the quote-unquote lesser teams.
Well, like I said, I said to Boki the other day,
what is the? Is it just in the mindsets?
I think it's finances, mate. I do think I asked the question earlier on: are Newcastle leaving stuff in the locker room? And it's become evident. It has become evident. You're Jekyll and Hyde when it comes to cup football or Champions League football, whichever way you want to put it, compared to league. And we'll come to some of the stats that you guys. Well, I think it was Connor that brought them up earlier on. And it surprises me, And again, I've done a bit of a deep dive into why this potentially could happen, and I think this has got to do with the CEO. I think this is a lot of the stuff now has been financial direction rather than an Eddie Howe direction. I think they realise the money that they get from playing in the next level of the Champions League far succeeds what you're going to get anywhere else. So, it's a case of let's push ourselves in that scenario. But again, I put it into, I think it was Sheila that was in the chat, and I said, sometimes I feel cheated as a fan when, if that is the situation. You think of all the merchandise that we've bought. We have spent £35 million on merchandise this year as a fan group. And that's not all gone to Newcastle.
Exactly. Let's just clarify. That's how much we've spent, not how much we've made.
Yeah, we've spent, as in fans have spent 35 million. Obviously, I don't know how much of a chunk of wage has gone to Newcastle regarding that. It would have been a small margin, I would have thought, when they've paid Adidas their sweatshop payments. I shouldn't say that, I suppose, live on air. And I'll take that one back. Controversial indeed. We don't have them these days.
Dicey.
So let's get on to the comparison of 87, because that to me was where it was all coming from. Harvey Barnes looked like Tino Asprilla, according to some. He did
was
in the first half.
1987, the Tino Asprilla game?
97.
1997. I
Yeah.
thought it was later than 87. I was like, wow, I didn't think it was that long ago.
No, 97.
When I read that,
it's still nearly 30 years,
It is. And
by the way,
at least it's within my lifetime now.
did you see Tino in the stands?
Yes.
My goodness me, he looked like an old man, didn't he?
He did, but I tell you, he's an old man now, lad. It made me laugh though, because when I read this, Harvey Barnes looked like Tino Asprilla, and I said, yeah, like he is in the stands, not when he was playing, because Harvey Barnes yesterday wasn't on fire, especially in the first half. Everything literally didn't turn to gold at his feet. Jacob Murphy channeled like Keith Gillespie. Like I say, that ball into Harvey Barnes, that was some cross.
And isn't this typical of Jacob Murphy.
Yeah, absolutely.
He looks like nothing of a player at all for the game, and yet he finds goals and crosses that count. So
he had a chance to score a goal himself as well, didn't
Jacob
he?
Murphy, but time and again, he produces the goods when the so-called better players don't.
Superstars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And
it is an interesting one.
It's a quandary.
Yeah, there was a question that was put out on a news reel about the Newcastle performance. I can't remember who it was now. It wasn't one of our papers. It was an international paper, and I can't think what the name of it. It'll come to me in a minute. But they said, did this performance remind you of the Newcastle famous 97 win over Barcelona? And I said straight away, no. It wasn't that for me, but it was a very, very good game of football. That Newcastle probably, I mean, the 97 one for me, I think Newcastle literally took Barcelona completely off the park with a Spillers.
For the first half.
For the first half, I was going to say. Second half was a different story.
Till the Mexican wave went around
St.
James's Park.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Job done, boys.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it just proves, doesn't it, when you switch off, it's very difficult to switch back on. Obviously, that's before your time then, Christina, 1997.
No, I was alive in that. That's what I was saying, because I thought when you said 87, I was like, oh, wow. But then when you said 97, I was like, yeah, I did think it was while I've been gracing this planet with my presence.
You remembered it well?
I mean, I can't say I remember it. It was before I got into football. But I've watched it. I watch a lot of videos to do with the entertainers. They're one of my favourite time periods to go back and watch. I love everything about the way they play. I love the way the team looks. I love the passion, and it's such a I hear people talking about it who were like adult football supporters at that point in their life, and it drew me in, and I was like, I need to see more of this. So that game is one that I've watched a couple of times, the highlights of it. I've watched the full game once or twice, just on a video clip I found of it. So don't get me wrong, I am very, very aware of Tino Asprilla with his flip and his punches and his hat trick. And also the one thing that I found hilarious was the commentators before the match had asked him, because apparently Alan Shearer said that the only reason Tino Asprilla played in that game was because Alan Shearer was injured. And if he had played, he would have scored 4. So they actually asked Tino this before the game yesterday, and he said, yeah, if Shearer had played, he would have scored 4. So we actually let Barcelona off lightly that night, just like we did last night.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting though, isn't it? Because
it cost us dearly because we got beat 1-0, and that was when away goals counted.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the way where we went out.
And it's time for Eddie Howe to right that wrong as well.
Absolutely. Well,
time will tell.
Time will tell, and if they turn up like they did last night, then who knows? They've got every chance. I mean, like I say, for me, I don't know how you feel, Win, but it certainly didn't feel like that 97 game for me. That first half was outstanding.
The 97 game was completely different because we're 3-0 up, you know.
And we played 4-4-2. That's what I said. It's totally different football back then. Like I say, you didn't have real wingers. You had left and right midfielders that just acted like wingers. Well, there were wingers because they were too lazy to run back. That was the problem. Let's get on to the penultimate bit then, because like I say, this was this win ratio type of situation that we had, because this most games won, and again, I could probably put it up on the screen for those that haven't witnessed this thing. I mean, I'm not saying it is. This is something that's been brought up by Opta, I believe, and it's this win share thing. It's quite small.
This is the number of games, isn't
Win's
it?
got shares in Newcastle.
Well, he always has. He doesn't know that.
That explains why you always manages to go to every single game, doesn't it?
Yeah, there is that.
For those
It's
listening
a
on
bit.
radio, we will read out whatever comes on screen, by the
Oh,
way, so don't panic. We're
it's
not going to leave
pointless.
you out.
Yeah, it's pointless. I can't because it's
Oh,
fixed to the back of my screen. So I'll tell you what it says. It's probably easier, to be fair, because like it literally is. The amount of games that Newcastle played: 46, Arsenal 45, Chelsea 44, Man City 44, Crystal Palace 44, blah blah blah, and it goes all the way down to Spuds playing 41. So Newcastle. The most games played across all competitions in Europe's Big Five leagues this season. So the Big Five leagues: England, France, Germany, Italy, and Spain. And that is, I would say, a contentious part because, like I say, there's a lot drilling on this. So, if you look
I
at
was flabbergasted when we played Man United. At that stage, we had played 45 games to their 30.
Well, Man United have played the least games in the. Yeah, exactly. And there was a question about, and I think Connor brought it up, the win, the win ratio. So obviously, win ratio equals wins divided by games played times 100, right? So that's how you work it out.
No,
so
not again.
So
it's happening again.
if you look at the image that we've got there, right? So we've played 46, we've won 22 across all of the games. Okay, so that's a 47.8 ratio. Now that is still a long way away from the top of the tree, if you like. So if you look at the likes of Arsenal, 77.8, Chelsea have got 56. I mean, again, you look at the size of the squad they've got, I would have imagined that would have been a little bit higher. Manchester City are on 65.9%. It goes on to the likes of Atletico Madrid, 64%, Liverpool, 57%, Forest, 43%. So apart from Forest and Crystal Palace, Newcastle are the third lowest team regarding win percentage. So it's 48 games, 22 wins, 9 draws, 17 losses. So it's a win ratio between 45 and 48% depending on match count used. And again, that's what I said. It's a bit of a long-winded process, but the stat itself tells you a bit of a great story, I suppose, because Newcastle have played the most matches in Europe's top leagues this season, but their win ratio is one of the lowest amongst the teams listed, as I've just said, which suggests a few things. Heavy schedule equals squad depth issue. That in itself is inconsistent results. So when you look at the squad that you've got to rotate through all of these schedules, through all of these matches, to try and get a result in any particular game that you're facing, when you haven't got that squad depth as the big six have got, and again, we were talking about when we played Barca in '97, there was a big two. That was Manchester United and Arsenal. They won everything regarding the league, apart from cups, but they won the league back to back up until 2004, I think it was. Then it became the big four. Then Liverpool and Chelsea came on board. So, back then, I'm surprised Newcastle with that squad, because it was a hell of a good squad, which DX put together for us the other day.
That's right.
And we said we were going to make a show of it, because back then I'd forgot who was actually on the bench for us. And you're talking about Tino Asprilla. He was fourth choice striker for us back then.
And we
so
still had Kitson and Huckabee after him.
Huckabee after him, exactly. So when you look at it, the discussion points for this, like I say, I'm looking at the time, we've got 9 minutes-ish to go with. I'm going to say 7 minutes because we can come to a conclusion. Has Newcastle's schedule this season hurt their league form? Do Newcastle need a deeper squad to compete in all competitions? And would Newcastle sacrifice domestic cups next year to focus on Europe? There's your starting points. I'm going to come to you first, Tina. What's your thoughts?
On the first two questions, absolutely yes. The schedule has affected our league performance. I hear a lot of people talking about the amount of money that we've spent, and my retort to that every time is yes, because this season we are in Europe and we're trying to compete on 4 fronts. We're now a team that's expected to do a little bit better in cup competitions than we had. In regards to the second one, sorry, so it was yes that we are being affected. What was the second question?
The
yes to
second
that one as well.
Yeah, do Newcastle need a deeper squad?
Yes, we absolutely need a deeper squad. We've got quite a big squad now compared to what we've had in previous seasons, but you know, injuries. We've proven this season injuries are still a massive, massive thing that affects us, and
Key injuries especially.
key injuries like our first choice right back, our captain. We had Hall missing for a lot of the time. We don't have backup for Hall at all. We've lost Share and Bottom. We've now got 2 fit centre backs for most of the season. So yeah, absolutely, we need a deeper squad. For the last one, no, I don't think we would sacrifice domestic performances for Europe next season. I think this season we're going to go all out for it because we're in the position that we're in. By next season, I would hope that if we do manage to qualify for Europe again, that we're going to correct some of these mistakes and that we're already out looking for that squad depth that we're going to need for next season, then we won't maybe necessarily need to make that sacrifice.
Yeah, well, you're good. I like that. Wayne, what's your thoughts, mate?
Well, yes, it has. Of course, it has. Especially, as I've said again, and you know, it's number 17 excuse if you like. But injuries have had a serious effect on us because the depth in squad simply isn't there. Now, the argument is, could that be rectified by more rotation? But if you rotate with those lesser players, shall we say, are you going to get even worse results? And that's the dilemma, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I'm sure the reasons why, I mean, somebody's put in the chat there, you know, more reason to include Shahar, Neve and Murphy. Is that the reasons why they haven't been included? Because, again, we go back to another stat of Newcastle's. You make more than 2 changes in our squad and the chances of getting points per game drops significantly.
Yeah. And that's apparent, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, you can see it. You know, you look at the other night, you know, we made 6 changes in the one game, 7 in the other, and the 2 teams look like chalk and cheese. It's incredible. But, you know, you did make a point to a degree on this next statement that I'm going to make. Again, I have tried to put all my energy into certain sites to try and fall and give a conclusion to this. Yeah, not all sites, I should say. But, you know, all sporting sites, even Opta and everything else, to try and get some detail on it. And everybody has come back, as after it looks, and said it's a 2-edged sword, because on one edge of the sword, playing 46 matches in any season is a compliment, because it means that you're still alive in multiple competitions. That's not a gimme these days, especially, you know, in domestic cup games, because the sides that you're playing, unless you're lucky and you pick obviously one of the lesser sides, which Newcastle never seem to really
never get. Exactly.
Exactly. So again, when you look at it from that side of it, it is definitely a compliment, because you are competing on all competitions. But on the other hand, it does raise a serious question about fatigue, squad depth and consistency. And again, we talk about Eddie Howe's game management. And there is, when you talk about consistency, there seems to be a lack of consistency when it comes to this chopping and changing of positions. And you can see it takes the team several minutes to get used to these chops and changes. And I do think, like I say, we can't just blame players, because Eddie Howe does have to have a degree of responsibility for this. So, and we've all admitted it. We're never going to put Eddie Howe as, you know, the Messiah, because we know he's not. But it's just showing that the lad has got this team at the forefront, putting us forward in all competitions, competing against teams with 30 plus players within their squads. Newcastle never have that, and it'll take a number of time for Newcastle to do that. Injuries mount up, as you've said. The intensity drops. We've seen, you know, we saw it again at Barcelona. You know, once we scored, it was backs to the wall again. And again, it's that final few seconds
wasn't, was it?
Well, it was.
I disagree.
Because if you look, as soon as, again, if you watch, Trippier does that on the sidelines, and the lads go to the 18-yard line. So that's a drop off. There's no press anymore.
But I saw Trippier doing that, obviously. But I didn't see them dropping off.
Well, they were all on the edge of the 18-yard box. When the ball gets played to Olmo, where is he? That's what I'm saying. He's literally 3 yards from the edge of our
that was after we'd been on the attack.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you're coming to the final seconds of the ball. You know, what you should be doing is trying to get at them and get that ball back and get it into the corners. And that's what I said. When you look at...
But Trippier was giving it all this bit before we went ahead. And it was after that him and Howe were both telling Dan Burn to go forward.
Yeah, to get the second goal, where, you know, that's what I'm saying. When you look at the rationale of being professional, you know, you're in the dying embers of a game. You know, you've put all of your eggs in one basket for that one game. You've got the goal. Why didn't he just run the ball into a corner? Why didn't he just pass it short and go back to the keeper and just run the clock right down and let them come?
Well, that was the thing for me, that particular free kick that we got. Yeah. When Dan Burn was saying to me, you can argue quite rightly that they should have just passed it back to Ramsdale from that free kick on the halfway line.
Yeah.
And that would have run the clock down, if you like, a bit more.
Yeah.
Exactly. They didn't.
They wanted that second. So I understand that.
They didn't drop back, is the point I'm making. After Trippier did the whoa.
Yeah, it finished. But what I'm saying is, when you look at the situation that we were in, it's like I said, you know, you're forcing the Alamo scenario into the box, aren't you? And then all of a sudden, it's like everybody's backing right back because, you know, they are just playing keep ball at the time. So it's just about, for me, being professional. And I think if you're going to be professional, you've got to squeeze. You've got to get higher up the field of play. Maybe they weren't expecting Barcelona at that late stage to try and throw the ball in through the middle. Because, like I say, for me, it just looked like Barcelona were accepting a 1-0 loss, if I'm honest with you. The lads will be joining very shortly. So I am going to literally leave you guys with a closing monologue. Football can be brutal. One moment, you're 5 minutes from beating Barcelona in the Champions League. The next moment, you're staring at the scoreboard wondering how it all disappeared. But if Newcastle fans know one thing better than anyone else, it's hope. Hope built on decades of sacrifice, loyalty and stubborn belief that one day the story ends differently. So the caravan heads to Catalonia, I can never say that word. And who only knows? Because football is a funny habit of producing miracles when people last expect them. See you on the next one.
Ciao.
You are listening to NUFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army, live daily on the website, on YouTube, on DAB, and on every online radio directory. NUFC Talk, the voice of the Toon Army. Set up for maximum confrontation and super opinionated debates. The NUFC Late Night Show with Chris the American Man, Derek the Mighty Wind, and the rest of the panel, Monday through Thursday from 9:30 p.m. UK. NUFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army.
Hello, everyone, ladies and gents. Welcome to the Late Night Show here on NUFC Talk TV and Radio. Welcome, one and all. Don't forget to smash the like button. Welcome. Hello, how are you? Once again, we see each other once again when we see each other. Unfortunately, we see each other
once again.
Once again, man. Some say it's a waste of time because you're never going to change your odd way of looking at football. But neither here nor there. Anyways, we got a lot of a few stories to talk
about. Can't teach an old dog new tricks, as they say.
Yeah. Actually, we do have a few stories that we could be talking about, to be honest. A few stories out there that I've been able to gather up on this particular show, Late Night Show. If you are listening on radio, don't forget to join us on YouTube if you can, if you want to watch us. If not, just enjoy your night. We're live on DAB in Newcastle and Gateshead. We are live
And
on every
content.
online radio right directory. Give me the conch, man. It's unbelievable, this. Unbelievable, man. Live on every online radio directory, of course. Look for NUFC Talk Radio on Google and everything will pop up. You can listen to us on your smart speaker and watch us live on the YouTube channel. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, become a member if you can. And there you go. Send your super chats. Anyways, what did you rudely interrupt me for, man? I'm sure it's some rubbish.
Because you can get the AB and consent now. We know that.
Yeah, well, we know that. Yeah, if you're in consent, you can definitely listen to us. So there you go.
If you're up on the hill.
Okay. Lovely. Let's see what the chats are saying there. A lot of people having their say. Tina there. Obviously, Becca in the house as well. Lucky Singh. Shout out to everybody. Ian Fleming, War Captain Bruno, Jimmy Ray, De Bevis. Let's see. Mighty Mag, of course, is in there. Davey Eddie in the house as well. Shout out to everyone. Flynn in the house. Everybody and their mama is watching. It's been an awful slow night, though, so smash that like button. Come on. Help the channel out. It doesn't cost you a dime. Smash the like button. Please. It doesn't hurt you.
We're all a bit down. We're all a bit down because of the last minute last night, but the last kick of the ball, in fact. But let's not detract from what was a fantastic performance.
Well, there's a few pieces of news that we can be certainly discussing, and we're going to be. Sean should be joining us soon. Peter was scheduled to be on, and we shall see. I don't know where he's at, but we will see if he's coming. Anyways, Brian Quinn is in the house as well. Shout out to Brian Quinn. Thank you to everybody, all the members as well in the chat. Become a member. We should still have the Friday Neat Show for a long time on Friday happening. Might have to start at 10 p.m. Let us know if that works for you. We want to know what you think. 10 p.m. might work better for some, but it's definitely unusual for us on Friday nights. But just the way things have worked out, might have to push it into 10 p.m. all the way into whatever night we stop.
Into the wee small hours.
So there you go. We got a lot of news, man. What can we discuss? Let's go. Let's give a little bit of a rundown of what we're gonna.
You put a comment in the chat before there when I was commenting on the Lewis Hall situation. When I was saying, isn't it funny that none of these channels that continually link our top players with moves have never mentioned Lewis Hall, and yet he's arguably been the best player this season. And you kind of thought that was just fanciful on my behalf when I suggested.
Because you are just a person that, just you get carried away too much. That's the problem.
Okay,
all of a sudden he's one of our. All of a sudden he's one of our best. All of a sudden he's one of our best players when he hasn't been available for the majority of games. It's just relax, man. Relax. He's been hurt. He started hurt in the very beginning of the season. Relax. There's no need to do all of that. He's a great player, but and we're going to talk about him actually. So maybe let's not focus on that because we're going to talk about this particular because he's been labeled now as one of the best in the world on a website. So we shall see. That's the problem. You get carried away, and all of a sudden the guy that's neutral seems like a negative guy. That's the problem, but it shouldn't be. He's a great talent. We'll see what life has for him to unfold. That's that. Best in the world, best player, and all that. Those adjectives are not warranted because you're hurting the kid. You're hurting the kid.
I'm not saying that at all. And I'm very careful not to say that, the same as I'm very careful not to say that about Lewis Miley. What I'm asking you is, why it should be that Tino Livramento is now being linked with Arsenal.
Because he doesn't want to sign a contract.
He's been linked with Man City.
It's that easy. He doesn't want to sign a contract. Like that or any clearer? How you want me to put it? He doesn't want to sign a contract.
But
so
that's
his
never
contract
stopped the rumors before.
Yeah, and
And yet there are none for Lewis Hall.
That doesn't determine anything. I understand the way you want to think about it, right? I understand the way you want to think about these conspiracy theories on the negative end, your imaginary fairy tale theories when you want to feel happy. I understand that. That's what you do. That's your coping mechanism. I get it. But they're not true. We have no base to say that these are true stories. The fact that you're saying that there's no rumor simply because they've been calling the club and they're telling him he's not for sale.
No. I'm asking you why it would be.
Because they don't want him. They're not interested in him at the moment. I guess that would be the simple answer to your question. But you're not going to look at the simple answer. You're going to look at the conspiracy, or you're going to look at the conspiracy or the fairy tales. That's what you're going to look at.
Interested in the player who will almost certainly be England's number one left back in 2 months' time at the World Cup.
Well, that's we shall see. We don't know that. Do you know that? Did Tuchel call you to tell you that? I don't know. When's the last time he's been called for England? Can we verify?
The last time they played.
Really? Corroborate that information for me. And when's the last time he played before that? So let's just wait. He might be. But why do we have to go on some type of lovey-dovey island to make ourselves feel better? I mean, why do you need this for your life? You can just go out and have a pint. Why do you need, to make imaginary theories about Lewis Hall being this?
I'm not making any imaginary theories.
Being Roberto Carlos all of a sudden.
I'm simply asking why, for all of the rumors there's been about multiple other players, there have been none surrounding Lewis Hall. That's all I'm asking. Because it seems strange to me. Because for me, he's been our player of the season.
Well, listen, that's fine. I mean, I like I said, I know your coping mechanism, so it is what it is, and I can't debate that. It's that's fine. Why haven't people come from Pope? Because they told him no, and he's one of the best goalkeepers in the world.
But he's not, is he?
But that's an opinion. I don't know that. How do you know that they haven't called for him?
Well, I don't know that they haven't called for him.
So we can do this all night when we got a lot of stories that we could be talking about, in which we're going to talk about Lewis Hall, by the way.
Okay, let's talk about those stories.
Well, I'm just, it's an interesting question, but that's that. I mean, I don't know what else to say about Lewis Hall being one of our best players, according to you, or the best player, not even one of. He is one of our best players, no doubt about it. But you're saying he's the player of the season, which is really, have never heard you say that before last night's game. Never. You have never said that. And if you find a clip of you saying that, I will give you £1,000 right now. I will give you £1,000. So go and look real hard. When have you said that Lewis Hall is our best player? When? You have never said that until today after the Barcelona game.
I think I'll be able to find one.
Okay, go ahead and find one. There you go. I'll give you £1,000 live right here. We're going to do the transaction online. I want you, and people, help him out.
I could say something, but I won't.
Don't. Help out. Find the clip. Find the clip of him saying Lewis Hall is the best player for Newcastle United. So, listen, but I get it. I get it. You're getting up there. You're lonely right now. You need somebody. You need some comfort, and you are using this as a coping mechanism. Listen, I don't criticize you, mate. It is whatever you find. Some people find websites to keep them company. You keep Lewis Hall in the best player in the world, which is you're not hurting anybody.
Never said he's the best player in the world either.
Well, you say he's one of our best players, and
he's
you
Newcastle's
will probably
best
agree.
Player this season. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. There you go. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But we do got some stories that we're going to be discussing on this show, ladies and gents. Don't forget to smash the like button right now and help the channel grow. We're going to be talking about, apparently, according to the Northern Echo, Newcastle's dressing room feeling after Barcelona Champions League draw was knackered. we're gonna talk about a little bit. I mean, we've been talking about it already, and you guys have been talking about all that stuff, but that's not necessarily one of the headlines. Headlines is that Arsenal out of race to sign Newcastle's Tonali, although Manchester United have been in the conversation or in the rumor mill with that one. And, we'll discuss about it. I'm sure Win will want him out. And that's, we already know how that works. You're not going to lose sleep over that at all, I'm pretty sure. There are some underlying stats to show true reality of Newcastle 1, Barcelona 1 in Champions League. That's according to the mag. And we're going to probably credit the writer who wrote this. I believe this is Jackie Smithfield who put this out there and giving us some stats. So thank you very much for that one. Anthony Gordon hits back at Newcastle critics who distort reality. We're going to definitely look at that in his quotes on this particular, what he said. Well, I'm sure Win is going to be, he's right. Gordon, one of the best. Second best player, probably Gordon. You got him there.
Not this season.
Interesting about the guy that went to Exeter. I mean, come on, man. You got to be thick though. You got to be really thick if you're gonna do that. How, man? You're gonna tell. You're gonna come. Yeah, you come on, man. What he did. Well, we'll talk about that. I mean, Gary brought it up. A fan, instead of going to St. James's Park, this one, the proper one. They went to the other one. We're going to talk about it. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. That's interesting. And then we're going to talk about Bruno Guimaraes also posted an immediate thoughts after the Newcastle 1, Barcelona 1 on social media, according to the Geordie Boot Boys and Jonathan Gorey. So we'll definitely discuss that in a bit. We'll be talking also about the writing is now on the wall, according to Jonathan Gorey and Geordie Boot Boys, who say that Woltemade and Wissa, the writing is now on the wall for Nick Woltemade and Wissa. So we'll discuss a little bit of what he had to say and the things going on with that one. And at the end, we'll do Mighty Win's favorite topic all of a sudden, that Lewis Hall just proved that he's one of the best players in the world. Despite Newcastle's heartbreak. Unbelievable. In the world, ladies and gents.
I think that was brutal.
The world has gone mad. Upside down. But listen, if we need to big him up, if he needs to be bigged up so he can be played, by the way, he seems like a sensible guy. He seems like a guy that's ground, doesn't need adulation by certain population of the Toon Army. But some people are doing it anyway. And I do got my live feed here with current news. And Connor sending me some transfer market news for relating Fabian Schär. So we're gonna talk about that, of course. And Bruno did say, yeah, you're right. I got a picture here, best in the world to Lewis Hall. Bruno did say that. And so that's interesting, but doesn't mean that Bruno is an amazing player. We went to Rio de Brazil. Well, not de Brazil. Rio. What is it? Rio. What was the restaurant called? Rio, right? Rio State. Well, Rio's. We went to Rio's. We met with a guy there. That's his wife is mates with Bruno's wife. We have a good time. Proper food, proper steak. The Brazilians go there all the time. We had a good time. And I pay for everything, of course. And but I don't mind paying for the lovely Hazel's food. But there's a numpty sitting next to me that was just devout and still had the goal to complain that it wasn't good, that it wasn't a proper steak, that it wasn't proper food. He complained, folks. Can you believe that? Complain. How much you pay for that per person? It's like 70 quid, man. It's unbelievable. It's highway. Well, it wasn't highway robbery because the steak was good. But anyway, we'll discuss all that and more. Let me give you a little bit of a rundown, though, on what's going on in the Champions League, ladies and gents. Still some matches ongoing right now, but results are very much almost across the finish line for every team. This round of 16 matchups have been gone this way. Galatasaray beaten Liverpool. Will Liverpool be knocked out in the round of 16s? That is blasphemy for Liverpool, ladies and gents. We shall see what happens at Anfield, although Anfield might be up for it, of course. We shall see. Super Chat there, Dark Side of the Moon. I agree with Wayne. Hall is our best player by far. there you go. And of course, Newcastle United drawing with Barcelona 1-1 at St. James's Park. The climate of Mount Everest will be very tropical next week against Barcelona. So we shall see about that, what happens. But it's 1-1 still. So there you go.
Still in with a shout. Right, yeah. There you go.
Atletico Madrid versus Tottenham, 5-2. Atletico Madrid decimated Tottenham into pieces. Confused Tottenham so much that the manager was exchanging the goalkeepers. That's how bad they were. That's how confused they were after Atletico Madrid gave them a proper hiding. But Atalanta losing. Well, talking about a hiding. Bayern Munich beating 6-1, decimating Atalanta as well, and that's Atalanta. That's at home, by the way. They were at home in Italy. Atalanta said that's what knackered when they went to the Allianz
city of Bergamo.
Oh man, they're gonna go to the Allianz Arena now. Knackered.
We are knackered.
I mean, that's where you got to play the kids, man. You got to play. What would you do if Newcastle were down 6-1? We were in the other end against the Karabakh team. What would you do if it was 6-1? We just play the kids, man. We just got to play the kids. Shahar,
you got to play for pride.
Nah, ain't need pride now, man. Need pride, man. It's over.
Proves it.
It is over, ladies and gents. Leverkusen 1-1 against Arsenal. They were beaten. They were winning, though. They were winning, but unfortunately for them, last minute kick in the teeth. But it's just 1-1. We'll see what happens at the Emirates. In the following matchup, in the following leg, PSG against Chelsea. It's ongoing right now, 90th minute, so it's pretty much going to be finito for Chelsea. PSG 4-2, winning this game. They had to score 2 in London. Still feasible, but PSG got a lot of talent, though. A lot of talent. You got that might.
Could have a big bearing on Saturday's game.
And that's true as well. That's true. And as you know, Chelsea, a proper team, a team with history, will always prioritize Champions League over Premier League. So we shall see. Although they're there in the mix, though, in the Premier League, so they need to qualify for Champions League once again. But we shall see. Interesting decisions to be made by the new manager now. His dad works, Leroy. I've talked to him at the Premier League fan zone all the time. Yeah, Rosinha. Bodo Glimt against Sporting Bilbao. Man, that's just Sporting Bilbao. I mean, sorry.
Bodo are down in Newcastle 1969.
No, man. Don't you ever compare Bodo Glimt with no history in there. Come on. That's what I'm saying, man. I swear, man. I swear. Why do you do it? You call yourself a Toon fan and you talk about your club like that, man. It's blasphemy.
I'm saying Bodo Glimt are doing.
No, don't do it.
This year,
just don't do it, man.
What we did in '69.
I've kept really quiet, but I'll tell you something. He went down in my estimation when he said that.
Come on, man. You don't get it, man.
I just feel it was extremely harsh. I think it's unsporting behaviour. I understand it, and other people do it. They tell me the greatest law in the game is common sense, and I think lacked a little bit of that on that particular incident. Not overall, but on that incident.
Not overall, but on that particular incident, you are knackered.
We are knackered.
Well, 3-0 though. Sporting Lisbon, man, that's insane. That well, they did a job. They did a job. So we'll see what happens in Portugal, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, the last one right now, the match of the round of 16, Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, destroying Manchester City at the Bernabeu, at the Santiago Bernabeu. Wow, that is. It didn't turn out to be a proper matchup as we thought it would be. City are not the team they once were. That's for sure. They're going through some hurdles. Therefore, I mean, they decimated us, but never mind us. I mean, Real Madrid just unbelievable, man. Wow.
They played their A game against us, you see.
3-0. Can we stay there knackered? I mean, well, I don't know. I don't know. Man City's a good team. You get the one team that can turn that around is them. So that's about it. That's all you can say when it comes to the Champions League. And that is your Champions League scores, ladies and gentlemen. Lovely. So, the Arsenal out of the race for Tonali. Well, Win is going to be sad about that. But
why is Win going to be sad about that?
Because you want him out. You want all the good players out. You want them all out. You want Chow out. The best Newcastle United signing this season. You want to get rid of. That's odd to me. I don't know about you, but that's odd to me. The best signing Newcastle United has made this season, Derek the Mighty Win, a.k.a. wants the best signing for Newcastle United to be sold. That is Macamish at best. I don't know about that. I'm just saying.
When have I said I want Tonali to be sold? Ever?
It's just who we are, mate. It's just who we are.
Well, first of all, you don't rate him. You don't like him. You know, you always belittle him.
I absolutely do rate him. Always have rated him.
So, here's the thing. What about the topic in discussion? Oh, I'm sorry. What about Chow? We're talking about Chow. You were talking about Chow earlier on.
What about when have I said I want rid of Chow?
You literally 40 minutes ago, you were talking to the other group in the early night show.
Last night, in my opinion.
In the early night show, literally, and you were forget the poor game. You literally said you would sell him if somebody came for him. You would.
For the right money.
So what's the right money?
For Chow, I think you're talking 70 plus. Double more money.
That's why it's all about selling. It's all about money. It's all about not keeping our best players. That's never in mind for you. It's just odd, man. I'm just saying, man. It's just a bit odd. That's all I'm saying. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Why'd you want to say that? Anyway, Arsenal out of the race for Sandro Tonali, and that's fine. But I've seen him being heavily linked to Manchester United. Here's the thing, though. Information out there, corroborated and verified, is that he would be so open to go back to Italy. Well, first of all, you got fans here who criticize him when he's one of the best players on the team, well, I mean, if he wants to go, he wants to go. But he would probably rather go to Italy as opposed to going to anywhere else. But if Man United come for him,
I've said if he wants to go, sell him. And I say that about any player. If you don't want to play for the Toon, bye-bye.
What about Bruno?
Just get the right money. If Bruno wants to go, let him go. He goes with my blessing. But I never want to go.
But you see that? He goes with my blessing. He doesn't speak like that of the others, by the way. He doesn't speak like that. You see, this is the little things. That's why I should be a crime investigator, because it's the little things that people miss that are telling on this whole narrative and the agenda that goes on with you. So I'm pointing things out.
You're talking your normal rubbish.
You literally said that. He can go with my blessing if he wants to go with Bruno. And when it comes to the other one, they can go. If they don't want to play for the Toon, they can. I'm just saying,
I'm saying exactly the same about Bruno.
It's not the same energy. It's not the same energy, man. It's not the same energy, I'm telling you. But listen, it is what it is. It's your personal bias, which is fine. Listen, if we gotta sell anybody, we sell it. But we need to make sure that the best players stay on the side. Whatever we need to do that. Tonali is one of our best players. Some would say the best.
Agreed.
So he needs to be on at all times. He needs to be playing at all times. We need to convince them to stay, because there is a fine line between convincing and when the player says, no, I don't want to stay here. Then that's when you gotta believe. If somebody tells you, let me give you some a word of advice out there for somebody that's meeting the last, that's trying to court somebody, that's trying to, see where things are going. If a lass tells you you're ugly, mate, or if you ask for the number and she said, give me yours, I'll call you later. Don't call me, I'll call you. Listen, she doesn't want you. It's that simple. She doesn't like you, man. Just take it for what it is. Don't assume. Don't try to go out. Don't try to say, maybe she meant it. No, she meant you're bald with glasses. So you're knackered. Get gunning. Get gunning, man. Don't try. The same thing with Isak. Isak told you no. Then that should have been it. That should have been it. That should have been it. But no, we're messing around, trying to persuade. It doesn't work. When somebody lost love for you and they're gone, man. They're gone. So it just depends. And that goes with every player. I agree. It should be like that with every player. If they want to leave, they want to leave. But there might be a room for persuasion if they're like, well, Italy wouldn't be bad going back.
That room for persuasion should be long gone before any transfer window opens. It should be settled.
Well,
and that's what's cost us this season.
But the thing is, not necessarily though. But not necessarily because the window opens and nobody's got any offers. But when the window opens, then certain teams come up and certain teams test the waters. They're trying to nick your girlfriend. Sometimes certain dudes just trying to nick your girlfriend. And you're like, whoa, what's going on? Like, it might be time to have that conversation when it comes to when it transfer window. So there's not, but you don't wait.
Well, that's when your analogy falls apart because
no, it doesn't.
You don't wait. You get it sorted before any transfer window.
But you can't. How are you going to get it sorted?
Well, you need to know. But if somebody wants to go, you don't say, no, you're not going. You've just got to let them go and get the best money you can for them and use that money to replace them early.
I don't look. I don't. I think we're on the same page. I mean, but you can't be waiting too long. There's a transfer window open, and that means that everybody needs to be settled down and nobody wants to leave. That's nonsense, man. That's never gonna happen. Because when players, when
I'm talking about your quality players.
When Isak, before the window even opened, Isak was all keen to stay. There was no problem. But as soon as he found out that Liverpool wanted him, that's it. So that's the problem.
I disagree with that because we were told during the whole saga, and let's not bring all that up again, but we were told that Isak had made his feelings clear after Mitchell didn't give him the contract that Amanda had said he was going to get. So we'd known that there was unrest for months and months and months before the window opened. And it was PIF putting a Billy Big B's on and saying, no, you can't just come up here and have them. You're not getting them. Mm-hmm. And eventually they did get them. And that left us in the plight we were in when all the players we'd been trying to get had gone elsewhere.
Mm.
So they're going to go. I don't want to lose my best players. No, I don't. But if they're going to go, we've got to make the most out of that situation. And there he goes. You see, he can't stand reality. He's sneaking off. I think he's having a problem with his internet as well. Where do you stand on it all, people who are listening? Don't forget, smash the likes. I just think if my honest opinion is that if anybody doesn't want to play for us anymore, they've got to be allowed to go. Because you'll never get the best out of them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, some underlying stats of last night on the Champions League game that could be interesting if you think about it. Well, we talked about the game to death, to be honest. But let's see here. These are the main stats about this game that are usually quoted. Total shots were 19 for Newcastle and 9 for Barcelona. Shots on target were 4 for Newcastle and 2 for Barcelona. So not really that far apart. We were shooting, I don't know where. So our accuracy needs to be studied.
Double layers, but in
Needs to be
both
studied.
aspects.
Corners were Newcastle 9, Barcelona 4. Touches in the box 38 for Newcastle, 20 for Barcelona. That's shocking. Newcastle were the better team, no doubt about that.
No doubt at all.
No doubt about it. We were caught offside 6 times. That's a bit telling. They were caught offside once, and hit the woodwork once we did. Yeah, I think that was that shot by Gordon, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, that was a shot by Gordon. Was it?
Oh, Barnes.
No, Gordon. No, Barnes.
Barnes.
Yeah, that's right. Because Gordon wasn't on the pitch yet.
When Gordon put the rebound in.
Yeah.
When GSM put the rebound in.
But we and I mean every stat was shocking because they had 35 clearances, we had 17. I mean everything is just balanced correctly to say Newcastle both on play and on stats were much better than them. So I thought I'd point that out because usually, like
except if I was a Barca fan, I'd be pointing to the fact that their XG was higher than ours. Believe it or not.
Yeah. Well, because their
chances were much better chances,
and they were accurate on their chances, and unfortunately, it's
well, they weren't because they didn't match their XG. But well, you can argue Lewandowski's chance was probably the easiest of the night. I think Asula's header and then his missed kick were, very, very good chances. And the thing that nobody's spoken about anywhere that I've seen is the penalty that I think Harvey Barnes should have had when he was on the turn and he just got pushed outside the box. He was in the box and he got pushed outside the box. I thought that was a penalty. And nobody's picked that up anywhere. Didn't even get a replay on the live broadcast.
Yeah, I don't necessarily remember that one or think it was that type of play to be screaming about, but we shall disagree on that as well. By the way, your boy spoke against the critics. Gordon hits back at Newcastle critics who distort reality. And by the way, it just made me laugh because it's about Gordon, me. And he's been quoted saying, "Listen, your football on the Chronicle, by the way. Listen, your football career is a pyramid. Every level you get to, the perception of you changes. All of a sudden now, if we lose as a team, people look at me first, which is fine. That's natural. That's how life goes. You get better. People want to see more from you. So he definitely puts himself in the category of, I'm assuming, the best player, because if he says if Newcastle loses, they look at him first, then he must think he is,
what he's saying is you look at your better players first.
Yeah, but they say they look at him. Well, he says when we lose as a team, people look at me first. People look at me first when we lose as a team. So you think he's the best player?
No, I don't think he's the best player.
But he certainly thinks so. I think a lot of times he gets looked at as
he's the number one scapegoat. I'll go with him on that.
That is unbelievable. The number one scapegoat is playing midfield when he should be up front. Is on the bench. That's the number one scapegoat, man. That's the number one scapegoat. Oh my God, man! The number one scapegoat. This guy says. But, he certainly, I think that people look at Gordon because he's easy to look at when it comes to being petulant and not, even when things might not be true, he puts himself in that situation. Remember that play where we were battered at Man City, and all of a sudden he goes down with his Hemi, and then he ends up being fine. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But even on situations like that, he doesn't help his cause at all. at all. Now, he's been quoted saying more things here, whereas 2 years ago when I had that great season, if we lost the game, no one would look at me. People would have looked at Bruno, Trips, Callum Wilson. That changes. You see? He didn't mention the other best players win. Not even your other, your other boy, Bruno. It's him. It's himself. Because 2 years ago, people looked at Bruno, Trips, Callum Wilson. That's in the past. Now they look at him. He's the first person they look at to criticize. Right. Yeah, okay. There you go. Well, of course, you would say that, no doubt about that. He also says...
No, but that's because punters, me included, probably choose not to criticize Bruno or Tonali. So you look for somebody who you can criticize and get away with. And
why?
At the minute, it's Anthony Gordon.
You do that? Oh my God! Why would you do that? That's so wrong, man. That's so wrong. Why would you ever do that? No, I criticize whoever needs to be criticized. That's me though. Regardless if I like them or don't like them, or it is what it is. He also said, "I play for England now. People view me different, so they have different expectations, which do distort reality." So what I said was true. I feel I'm in the form of my life. He said this. I feel I'm in the form of my life, performance-wise and statistically. Wow. Wow. And you agree with everything. I know that. I know you agree with
I don't agree with that.
But wow, that is it's Anthony Gordon.
So you talk about making a rod for your own back. That's exactly what he's done there.
It's Anthony Gordon, the guy. It's his world. We're just living in it. That's for sure. Gordon has also been asked to play a different role at times this season, says Sean McCormick of the Chronicle. Has almost exclusively been used as a central forward in recent weeks, as he feels that position of change and a slight change in his approach to matches has also played a big part in opinions changing towards him. He's quoted saying again, another point is I do play differently now. Gordon added, I don't maybe run around like a headless chicken as much as I did when I was young and naive and enthusiastic. Didn't he just get sent off at the end of the season for running around like a headless chicken and stabbing Van Dijk's leg? I know you don't think that. I know you think he should have gotten an award for that play, but the rest of the normal people think that was a red card. No doubt about it. But he doesn't. He lost his mind before. Now he doesn't lose his mind. That's interesting. I need help. I need to help the team in a different way, he said. Be a bit smarter. He says he doesn't do that as much, running around like a headless chicken. Also, he said, because a lot of times back in the day when I do these long busting runs, they just pop around me and I'd have to run back and be tired and I'd come off earlier in games. Well, that's actually something good to improve on if he admitted that, to be fair. That's something good to, that he has improved on. If that's true, by the way, I don't necessarily see that particular, face of it. But, man, he is, I tell you what, man, he is.
That ego is coming out.
Phew, that is something right there, boy. He walks around St. James's Park like, this is my place, man. This is my house. You know what I mean? Like, Alan Shearer, what are you doing here, man?
This is my manor.
My goodness. Lord have mercy. Shout out to everybody in the chat, by the way. Smash that like button. Help the channel grow and enjoy exclusive content. If you're a member, please become a member as soon as you can. He's also quoted saying, so I think adapting to a new style of play, trying to be more smart, more efficient, and through fans viewing me differently, perception has been distorted a lot this year, but I don't care. I know who I am. I don't need other people's opinions of me to be the same as mine, which that's respectable, by the way. You shouldn't want everybody's opinion to be like yours, but they're walking around.
That's a problem you'll never have.
What are you talking about?
You'll never have a problem with expecting other people to agree with your opinion.
No, I don't expect that. You do. I don't expect that at all. I don't.
You're forever saying I'm the only one who thinks what I think.
You are. I mean, even people, many pundits here have told you. I mean, we don't, in a nice way, by the way. I'm pretty straightforward. I tell you what it is, and we do have that relationship, obviously. But other people here are nice to tell you. Well, we know now certainly that we particularly don't watch the same game sometimes, Mr. Mighty Win, more or less. So that means when you're knackered. So let me just translate for you.
I said the very same last night.
Let me just translate for you, man.
They're using Google Translate into Geordie.
No, not at all. I was just translating to what other people tell you to basically be more direct than from you are knackered. But it's Lucky Singh says pundits vary in football. I think he's saying more or less. Win say something silly, says Colton Connor. Thank you very much out there, everybody. Don't forget to smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, ladies and gents. This is NUFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army, live in Newcastle in Gateshead, County Durham, parts of County Durham. It looks like we need to go all around the outskirts of the Toon and see how far we get to. If we try to go far
Spencer
North Shields.
Terrace, North Shields.
Yeah, that's where it started getting knackered. Did you know that there was there was a EFL the EFL club make wholesome gesture for a Barcelona fan who traveled to the wrong stadium. Oh man. What the heck? No, well, Gary told you and you didn't even pay attention. That's how much you pay attention to the shows.
Well, I was too busy trying to get me tackling or what I want.
And he traveled 366 miles away from the Champions League clash with Newcastle United after arriving at the wrong stadium. Come on, man. But I think that you got to be daft if you come on, man. That cannot happen in this day and age. How do you match that with a crowd of 52,000 supporters to a stadium that's, just like 100 people? I mean, it's just a bit weird, man. I don't know. I don't know.
It's the old question, isn't it? 3 World Cup winners who've managed at St. James's Park. Won the World Cup and gone on to manage at St. James's Park.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll give you the first 2 to see if you're studying. Ozzy Ardiles.
Yeah, you told me about that before, actually.
And Jack Charlton. And nobody can get the third one.
The Exeter player.
And it's Alan Ball, who managed at Exeter, who also played St. James's Park, by the way. As we just discovered. Exeter
Stadium was built in 1904. Wow. And so what happened? What did they do, though? So a statement from Exeter says that the club supporter experience officer Adam Spencer explained one of our volunteers came to the office to let us know that this guy had turned up expecting to see Barcelona. He quoted, his English wasn't great, but from what I could gather, he'd come from London. My guess is he'd put St. James's Park in his phone and then just follow the directions from there. How far is Exeter from London?
Probably about the same as it is from here. I would think about 300 miles. It's the far tip of Devon, isn't it?
Well, is it like northwest or something?
No, southwest. It's a way out. It's coming towards you. It's the way we've got the big tail that comes out towards you.
Yeah.
At the bottom, heading west, and where Exeter's way over there. It's the last city. No, is it? I'm not sure if St. Ives is. I think it's the last city. The most westerly city.
So let me finish the story then. And he was pretty gutted and a bit embarrassed. So we sorted him out a ticket, and he got. No, hold on. What do you mean? That ticket ain't no good. He didn't want to take that ticket. He didn't. Hold on. We sorted him out a ticket, and he got to watch the game at the real St. James's Park. At the real St. James's Park. He'd be welcome back anytime. Okay. So they just gave him a ticket, for him to come back at some point. Let me tell you something. That Barcelona fan ain't coming back. I'm just being.
Hang on. This sounds all a bit far-fetched now, doesn't it?
A bit dodgy.
Because if he'd arrived at St. James's Park, Exeter, yesterday.
Well, he could get to Newcastle.
By
England's small, man.
You're talking.
Well, I mean, for the game though. You're talking about for the game.
Probably, at a guess, even driving like I drive, it would be 7 hours to Exeter from Newcastle. So
really?
What time did he arrive at? Yeah,
I don't know.
Opposite end of the country. We are the most northeast city. They are the most southwest city.
Oh wow! Well, that's one heck of a drive, says Colton Connor. Exactly, 3 hours and 35 minutes is David Spence. So what are you on about?
What? Oh no, that's from that must be London to Exeter.
So he was pretty gutted and a bit embarrassed. So we sorted him out a ticket, and he got to watch a game at the Real St. James's Park. He'd be welcome back anytime. The fan was treated to a clash against the League One leaders at the 8,000 capacity St. James's Park over there. Lincoln would go down to win. Maybe they're talking about he stayed there to watch the game. Unfortunately, he missed the Barcelona Newcastle. Well, no, they're saying he went to the Real St. James's Park. So. I don't know, but it seems odd. The whole situation, it does. If that's what you're talking about, but there you gone. So, Wayne is going to be Googling now, taking his mind off things. I've been to Exeter, went with a load of friends for the weekend, and drank two pubs out of their stock of brown ales, says Becca. That's interesting.
Well, I can tell you a tale about that when we went camping in Somerset, which is not far from Exeter, and we took these were the days we used to go camping in the back of a transit, and we took 12 cases of Nuki Brown in the back of the van with us. And we hit this pub in Somerset, and they were selling local scrumpy, which is their strong cider. And we put Peter the Pig up against their best drinker, and their best drinker had to drink brown ale, and Pete had to drink scrumpy. And Peter the Pig was last man standing, no problem whatsoever. The brown ale did them in. But bear in mind, back in the day then, the brown ale we took with us was bought in Newcastle, obviously. And that was before they used to pasteurize it. So it was a lot stronger than the brown ale. Even until very recently, when the brewery was still open, when they had the brown ale line in Newcastle Brewery, any brown ale that didn't travel further than Darlington, if it only travelled, I think 25 mile or something was the distance, it didn't have to go through the pasteurizer. But if it had to go further than that, it didn't have to go through the pasteurizer. So you always got a better bottle of brown in Newcastle than you did anywhere else. Anyway, Peter the Pig walked that one. Good evening. Good evening. How are you?
Hello. Yeah, it went.
What was your thoughts last night?
Well, yeah, I was just proud of the performance and of the players. And goes without saying.
That's a word a lot of people are using.
Yeah, and just devastated, obviously, at the end. But yeah, it, in a way, right, in a funny way, it kind of just sums up the season. It's like so near yet so far kind of thing, where we've shown obviously glimpses throughout the season that on our day we can beat anyone, but we've just fallen short too many times this season, and it was kind of encapsulated in the end of that match. Not necessarily how we conceded, because I thought I pointed out before the game win about how too many times this season we've kind of had all these gaps, in how we defend leads and how we've let leads slip. But on that particular match last night, I thought we were set up quite well, and it was just a rash moment from Chow, really. I can't really be too harsh on Chow because it was a good bit of skill, that he done him with a quality bit of skill, bit of a shimmy. So yeah, it was just one of those. I was just hoping the ref wouldn't give it.
It was a penalty. Sean,
Yeah.
good evening. How are you?
I'm good, thank you very much, Wayne. Yourself?
Sean.
All right.
Not bad at all. What did you think last night?
I thought it was an outstanding game. I thought we played really well. Obviously, when we got the goal, we still went to attack. And I thought,
wow, what is this surprise?
And I thought,
what the heck?
When we had the free kick, Dan Burn didn't know what to do, go up or back, and I thought that was a bit of the man management there. I thought we should have kept them back, but overall performance, the team was amazing. I just don't understand how we can't play like that every other game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that again was a common sentiment last night. Why can't we play like that 1 week and then the next week play like we did against Man City?
I agree. I just don't understand.
It's a conundrum, isn't it?
I mean, you could argue it's human nature in the sense that, you're playing Barcelona, it's a massive occasion, and inevitably that is going to just create a different dynamic.
Yeah.
For the players. But no, the point, I get what you're saying. The point still kind of stands really that, they should still show more intensity than what they've shown, at least in these other games like Everton at home and your Brentfords and Brightons and all that. So yeah.
Bruno Guimaraes posted immediately his thoughts immediately after the game. And if I'm not mistaken, well, he did put the only one about Lewis Hall, where he said he's best in the world or something like that. I think it may have been
back in the world.
But I think I'm gonna see if he actually posted something else. If this is more clickbaity than anything else. No, actually, Instagram story said, reflecting on the result, a tremendous effort from the boys. Couldn't ask for more. Very unlucky at the end. In the end, we go again next week. So, which is very very good words to say the least. But it leads us to our story. Towards the end, we're going to talk about Guatemala and the Wissa in Guatemala situation. Thank you very much, Mighty Mag, for gifting the membership. That has gone to Sam Campbell. Sam, welcome to the membership club. Don't forget to renew your membership once this free trial is up, and you'll be able to enjoy every NUFC Talk radio show live and on demand as a member. You can watch us live. Of course, you can listen to us free on radio, but you can watch it as a member. So thank you very much. I appreciate you very much indeed. Win, you want to set up the tone again like you did earlier about, your fairy tale.
What I was saying, because Bruno there is saying Lewis Hall, best left back in the world. First of all, let me ask you, who do you think has been our player of the season so far?
For me, I would go Lewis Hall.
Right. Tim?
Yeah, it's not an easy one because no one. It's been overall a poor season, really.
There you go, man.
Yeah, but
common sense. No, why do you have to pick a player out? There's always a good player in a bad team. That don't mean he's good. And I'm not speaking specifically about Lewis Hall. I think Lewis Hall is a great talent, and Peter's, you're going to answer that. But I don't. Why are we forced to say this is the best player all season? Because that makes it look like he's had a tremendous, unbelievable, record-breaking season when he hasn't.
Well, he has.
See, for me, I'm only saying Lewis Hall because since he's came back from injury, he's been solid.
Oh, he's been fantastic.
And obviously consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was immense.
So the reason I'm asking is because what I cannot understand is why all of the transfer rumour websites and sources and name it are forever linking our best players with moves. and yet you never hear anybody interested in Lewis Hall. So I'm putting forward the possible theory that the agent's network gets in touch with Lewis Hall's network and are told he's not interested in going anywhere. You're wasting your time. So we don't get these rumours about Lewis Hall. We get
that
about
means
everybody else.
That mean, how many times did we say no? The board say no about Isak. Come on, man.
I mean, here's the thing. I think with Hall, I would just cross my fingers and hope that maybe the kind of Geordie connection there with his family might help in keeping him here for next season. If we don't, you know, I mean, I'm still hoping we'll get Europa League. It's in the balance. I'm not sure if we will, to be honest. But yeah, you're just crossing your fingers a little bit, hoping that his mum and dad can kind of persuade him to say, you know what, if there is interest elsewhere, just give us another year at least, and then, you know, go from there. But what I will say,
I'm thinking, for example, if you were given the choice, you're a Premier League manager now, and I give you the choice. You can have Tino or Hall. Who are you taking?
I would have Hall.
Hall, definitely.
Well, Hall, no doubt about it.
Every day. And yet we're getting all the rumours about Tino going here, there, and everywhere. And
first of all, rumors don't mean anything. They're just rumors. They're a personal liking. That's what somebody likes. Somebody likes Tino. That's that. That's it. It doesn't mean, or it's not a sentence, or whether he's a better player than Hall or even worse. You know, I think most people will choose Lewis Hall, but you know, it's just a rumor mill. And by the way, it's simple because the guy doesn't want to sign the contract. They offered him a contract. He doesn't want to sign it.
Yeah, Tino.
There's not this. Yeah, Tino.
Yeah,
but
so that's maybe what caused the rumors.
I'll take that completely on board. I agree, but Lewis Hall, why is nobody linked with him?
But why do you want somebody to be linked with him?
They may well be. After last night, the thing is, right? Last night he's put one of the world's best wingers in his back pocket.
Yeah,
and the football world will stand up and take note of that. No doubt.
And by the way, he did the same thing with Mo Salah last season in the Carabao Cup. So it's nothing new. This guy can play. But you see how short memories are, because I have an elephant's memory, amongst other things, from an elephant. And I'm talking about my, but that he was having a great season last year, Lewis Hall. He got hurt. He had to be off he was injured. Here, the amount of people here, Win included, that were talking about Livramento, how much better than Hall he was, and how he should be playing left. Yes, you were. No. And all of a sudden, and I said it. I've had a show here. No. I've had a show here saying, how quick do people forget how good Lewis Hall was? And I've never heard you say, Win, he's the best player in our team until today, after the Barcelona game. So if you had any convictions, you would have said this a long time ago. But no, you didn't. You're just now saying it. And I told you, go find me a clip of you saying Lewis Hall is the best player in this team, and I'll give you £1,000, and you can split it with Peter and Sean.
I'll go the other way. I'll say I'll give you £1,000 if you can find any clip of me saying that Tino is better than Lewis Hall.
Well, I'm too busy to do that work, and I probably don't need £1,000. Well, no, but I know you've said it, and people here that've been watching loyally, the way they do, they will find they will remember.
Do some digging on that one.
Tell us, Peter, Tim or Peter, you guys, probably going to do some. Well, Tim is doing a lot of editing, so find a clip of me and him discussing this, because he was big in Tino Livramento, like more than Lewis Hall on the left, and I'm like, what? Why do you? What has Hall done?
Right, hang on,
to not deserve his spot?
What I did say was Tino plays better has been playing better on the left than he plays on the right. I did say that. I didn't say he played better than Lewis Hall. I said he plays better than himself on the left than he does on the right.
Yeah, whatever.
Absolutely said that.
The fact of the matter is, this kid is a great talent. He's not the best in the world. Like Bruno, he can say what he wants. He's a captain. He's a really good player for Newcastle United. But he's wrong. He's not one of the best players. So can we just call it for what it is, without me being a Macam? Without it's just what it is. Why do we have to go to that extreme, Peter?
By the way, that wasn't this season, because Tino has never been fit this season.
Oh, he has been. Yeah, it was the season. It was the season. But Peter, why do we have to go to that extreme? Because it feels like I'm the one that's a negative one, and I'm the Macam here. When I'm just saying he's not the best in the world. Why is that such a controversial statement? Is he the best in the world, Peter?
Well, who's better?
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's. I think it's just purely based off.
You've got you're the font of all knowledge with world football. You tell me who's better than Lewis Hall.
Well, I have to give it a think. But he's not. It's not Lewis
See,
Hall.
I'm not keen in general on kind of like rankings, if you like. You hear this talked about with other players as well, in terms of like he's the best midfielder, he's the best this and that. I always think it's a bit of a moot point in terms of ranking players that way, because it fluctuates all the time in terms of
it does
form players are in.
I'll give you one. Vardio is who would take. Come on, that's one right there. Alphonso Davies of Barcelona or Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
come on. Well, not Bayern Munich. Well, he went to Real Madrid. No, Bayern Munich. Yeah.
What I would say though is obviously Lewis Hall. He's shown. Obviously, last night. I mean, before last night, he has shown. I think this season, to be fair, I'm thinking back at the games we've had. Even though we've been poor, and Lewis Hall, at times, he's maybe give it away as well. He's not immune to criticism because he's kind of like. Yeah, I mean, there's times when he's played with fire a little bit when he's playing out from the back, in a few games. But overall, he's shown, I think, that first of all, that Chelsea have made a massive mistake letting him go, for one.
Well, true. Well, they got Cucurella. I'm sure they're happy with him, though.
With who? Sorry.
They got Cucurella. I'm sure they're happy with him.
I mean, I think now looking at it, I think I would take Lewis Hall over Cucurella. But I get what you're saying. Cucurella's done a decent job for them. But last night, Lewis Hall, like I said, coming up against Yamal and doing as well as what he's done, I think it's just the euphoria over that's going to kind of create headlines, and I get it, because honestly, like, that Yamal kid just didn't have a kick. And the way Lewis Hall was like spinning and bringing the ball out from the back as well, it was unreal. Like, but we don't want to kind of like. I think it's important as well to maybe try and keep players on the feet a little bit, and I mean we can enjoy it. We can enjoy it as fans, but I think you always want to keep players grounded as well at the same time, don't you? Because you don't want to. You don't want to go to his head. Not he seems like that kind of kid. He seems quite level-headed, but I think you don't want to let players kind of put the foot on the brake. You want them to keep going and trying to keep getting better and better and better. So I think it's just Bruno being Bruno in it. He's.
Well, no, he's doing his part. I mean, I'm not knocking him on it. I mean, I'm just saying he's not right. I mean, it just isn't. but he's a teammate though. He's got to big him up. Of course, he's got to big him up. So I have an issue with some fans, in here, in this panel in particular, that one with the blue shirt, well, there are two with the blue shirt that said Lewis Hall, but one with the lighter blue shirt up there, that just. It's a coping mechanism, Peter. He invents these stories to make him feel good, or conspiracy theorists. Like UEFA want to destroy Newcastle United for some reason. I don't know why, but that supposedly is what's going on. So, listen, I get it, but Lewis Hall is a great talent. He's probably going to be one of the best. He's not there yet, And with all due respect, though, a fullback is part of the team, crucial part of the team, excellent part of the team. But if your left back is your best player in your team, you're not having a good team. It's just the bottom line. If your goalkeeper is the best, the people, the player that everybody talks about in your team, then you don't have a good team. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I think both can be right in a way, because sometimes there's been games this season where you're right. Lewis Hall has literally looked like the most creative player in the team, and that is, in some games, that's quite a damning assessment of the rest of the team. But at the same time, props to Lewis Hall for kind of stepping up, you know?
Of course.
Exactly.
Of course.
Yeah.
I agree.
Of course, 100%. 100% on that. Win, which one you want? Vardiol or Hall on the left?
Well, I would take DeMarco over Guardiola.
DeMarco, exactly. All right, that's a good shout. DeMarco, there you go.
Exactly.
See, you find one.
You know, if you're looking for good left back, I was over the moon when we were linked with him.
Federico DeMarco from Inter Milan.
Yeah.
There you go, baby. There you go. You see, there's a few wins.
He would be my nearest.
Um,
And he's got more experience than Hall, obviously.
No, but but then again, I'm happy with Hall. I don't want to sell it for anybody else. With as much as I think other players are great, or probably better at this point. I think we bought it for cheap. The future is there.
I think if we could get a quality left back.
Oh, here we go.
I'm not averse to seeing Lewis Hall move up the pitch.
Yeah, but for me, I think with Lewis Hall, he's young, plus he's English. Do you know what I mean? So it's a good for English football. But obviously, you should always have another quality left back.
Long live the British Empire!
You know, but I also think you should have a good left back. So if a player goes down, you've got another one that can step straight in.
Yeah, well, but you're not going to get a Vardiol coming for the bench, though. You really have it's not a knock at the manager, by the way, but you really have to have a very good, excellent manager that you could say, you know what, whatever he says goes. You know what I'm saying? Like Pep Guardiola can bench anybody, and nobody's going to look at him sideways. Listen, I'm not knocking Eddie Howe. I'm just telling you, they're just the way it is, you know. And like you got this guy that the Spurs guy that subbed out the goalkeeper. You know.
Oh yeah, that was a howl.
They're all rubbishing him, you know. And some managers like Pep or Klopp, etc., they can make some odd decisions. I mean, Van Gaal, he subbed out the goalkeeper in the World Cup. Nobody doubted him, and it worked out, obviously. But you know, in that particular game, so it's just the way it goes. But yeah, I'm glad
Tim Krul for the penalty shootout.
Tim Krul, who did unbelievable, by the way. Last but not least on this show, I want to talk about the conundrum once again now for the center forwards for Newcastle United. Jonathan Gorey on the Jordy Boot Boys writes, the writing is now on the wall for Nick Voltemata and Yohan Wissa at Newcastle United. It's going to be hard for either Nick or Wissa to play down their lack of involvement in what has been described as the biggest game in Newcastle United's history. First of all, biggest game in Newcastle United history, that is up for debate. First of all, I don't like when I've said it before, I don't like when we do this type of stuff like right now. You know, I mean, you can talk about 30 years ago, like you talk about the Barcelona game, which that game yesterday, we played good, but we didn't play that good as we did in the 90s. So let's not put this game that we played yesterday in the same level as the Asprilla game. It was nowhere near that.
Right? I am absolutely putting it at that level.
Well, then you're wrong. But it's not on that level. Come on, Peter, bring some common sense into this, man. Please, man.
Honestly,
don't do this, man.
Oh, don't say that's Peter. Is it Peter?
Uh-huh.
I called him Jim before.
That means you're knackered.
We are knackered.
Come here, man. That Barcelona game. So, I mean, you talk about the greatest footballers of all time were on that pitch. Not the same with this Barcelona that we're talking about.
I'll tell you what, Chris, right? I mean, obviously that we didn't win. This is the gut wrenching thing about.
Oh, we didn't win then either.
Yeah, like the last 10 seconds. If we'd held on, I do. Yeah, exactly. I think, to be fair, Chris, right, that performance for me, for most of that game, I'll have to watch it back, but just my impression watching that live was that we dominated for large chunks of that game.
And we did. We yesterday, yeah.
to dominate Barcelona like that is one hell of a feat. And I didn't expect that. I thought it would be the kind of game where, we'll go out the traps early doors and we'll get at them, and then try and get a few goals. But then at some point, Barca will come back into it, and then maybe the rest of the game it's more of a counter-attacking style. And I was prepared for that. I was not prepared for us to have it felt like a lot of possession. I'll say that. I haven't checked the stats, but we were taking it to them.
44-56 to the
No, we had a marvelous performance. No doubt about that. But
I'm saying I thought that was a better performance for 90 minutes than what 97.
Come on, man. The players on that other pitch, I wouldn't blame any Newcastle player trying to get a signature in that game back in the 90s. Last night's game, come on, man. It's good, man. But again, it's opinions. But the point, the conversation right now is neither Voltemata or Wissa made that. Eddie Howe said that this was one of the best best games and biggest games in Newcastle history. I think that's debatable. But Wissa nor Voltemata played.
Yeah, but the times were different, weren't they? That's what you got to look at. Plus, I was watching with Keith Gillespie and Tino, and when Kenny Dalglish was manager, the players that still were under Kenny Dalglish still played the Keegan style. They get 3, we get 4. So the team was all set up for attack. But I do agree. I think it's going to go down as one of our greats. We were literally fantastic that night. Do you know?
But do you think they're going to 30 years from now? They're going to bring Lewis Hall or Harvey Barnes, who got man of the match, every game against Barcelona next 30 years? No, they're not. They're not going to remember. So, like Tino Asprilla already has a free ticket every time we play Barcelona.
I think if we'd hung on for that victory,
if we would have won, it could have been different.
Like that.
Harvey Barnes
makes a different complexion then in terms of how that game would be looked back on. I think, and that just shows how cool football is. You can put on performance like that.
I think that game and Lewis Hall's performance in that game will be looked at. For many years.
No, it won't, man. No, it won't. Stop lying, man.
Well,
nobody's going to buy Lewis Hall.
Well, not because I'll be 100 by then. So that's
what
we are knackered. But I think anybody who was there last night will remember that performance.
Love it.
Obviously, didn't get a hat trick, which is, that's the reason.
Well, I mean, but that's a big reason, actually.
But as far as the performance is concerned, I just thought it was outstanding.
Let me tell you something. 30 years, hopefully I'm alive, God willing, 30 years from now. But let me tell you something. If we do a bit of a sort of testimonial of this game 30 years from now, I will go crazy. I will go crazy. It's tin pot as it is. Small time, man. Get out of here. We're not celebrating. We're not building statues over this game, man. Come on, man. Relax a little bit. We don't have to do that, man. We're Newcastle United. Newcastle United. We're a big club. We were sleeping, now we're waking up. So we don't have to do all of that.
We're not as big as we were in 97.
What do you mean? We got a cup now.
In 97, we were breaking the
world
record, man.
Oh, here we go. Oh, my God, man. This the world record, 50 million pounds, world record. Okay, man. Right, so, I mean, but what do you think about the strikers? Eddie Howe didn't choose any of the big or the guys that he spent the most. Is that telling to you? I mean, where are we going to go with the strikers? Because we bought combined, what is it, 130 million pounds almost. And for you not to use those in what he called the biggest game in Newcastle United's history, then that says a lot, to be honest. And I'm not saying he should be forced, but he didn't.
Yeah.
What do you guys make of that? We got about 15 minutes left.
Strange.
Yeah. I mean, I think the fact that Gordon was injured and Wissa still didn't get a look in just tells its own story, doesn't it? And I think it's more of a damning indictment of Wissa than Voltemata. Voltemata has got time on his side, and obviously we've had this whole experiment with where is his best position? You know, I think that's still, he's a work in progress. Whereas Wissa was supposed to be ready-made striker to come in and do the business. You know, not having to kind of develop Wissa as much as maybe some other players like Voltemada. And I've been really obviously disappointed with how it has turned out. I mean, I know he had that injury, and the timing of that was just, yeah, terrible. But since he's came back, for whatever reason, he's just looked way off the pace. And why that is, I just do not know. I think, yeah, last night it was crying out for him, a fit and ready Wissa from last season. You look at the way he played for Brentford. It was crying out for that version of Wissa to slot in. But yeah, I think, and I'm saying that not as a criticism of Howe, I'm saying he must obviously look at Wissa, and obviously we've seen him play when he has been put on the last few months. We've seen ourselves how poor he's been, and Howe mustn't be seeing enough in training away from that as well to kind of suggest that he's ready. And yeah, it's. I think, to be honest, right, I'm looking at the transfers from last summer, and I was talking to Timmy about this, and I was saying, like, you've got Elanga and Wissa, I think, are two kind of big money signings that haven't worked out yet. And I think one of them has to, really, on the money you've spent. You can write off one of them, I think, to be fair. But to write off two players who you've signed for like 50 odd million only a year after you've signed them is a big call. So, like, I think one of them has to come good. And I think Wissa, basically, for me anyway, I'm looking at it as a fan. For me, I would say he's probably playing for his future now, between now and the end of the season.
Yeah, interesting. Sean, what do you think about the Wissa in Voltemada situation?
See, I thought Voltemada would have played last night. It was a kind of game for him.
I agree with that.
See, I think Wissa's a good player, but I think it was the replacement for Callum Wilson.
There you go. Spot on, man.
And I think Elanga, I think he's choosing what game, because he plays great against Barca, but then he plays absolutely rubbish against the other teams. I just don't know. But I think if Wissa's fit, yes, he'll get goals. But I just think he's another Callum Wilson.
Yeah.
But I think Callum Wilson's a better player than Wissa.
Well, I mean, by the way,
a fit Callum Wilson.
Yeah, a fit one, yes.
Shearer.
Oh, relax.
Well, I don't know about Shearer. I don't know if Callum Wilson's better than Shearer.
God,
but
man.
No, I say I think Callum Wilson was the best since Shearer.
Oh, all right.
Well, I don't even. The fact that you just do that is a salesman way of comparing, putting them in the same place of Shearer, and you should have never done that. But you know, again, you're an extremist, man. That's what it is. It's just simple. One good season, and all of a sudden he becomes in the same level as Shearer. What do you want to show there?
That's how big a club we were in '97.
Oh my God!
Our spend was 48 million compared to 33 Blackburn. That was when they were annihilated. 30 Liverpool, 24 Man United, 22 Arsenal, 20 Tottenham. That's how big a club we were in '97. So don't tell me we weren't a bigger club in '97.
So basically, Man United, it was the biggest club in the world at that time because they had the money to spend for Shearer, and he chose not to go there. How about that? So it's basically a Geordie just choosing a Geordie team as opposed to that changed history right there for you, right?
When even if you take that 15 million out, we've still spent 33 million on the rest of the squad.
Come on, man. Whatever, man. Well, we spent 69 on a center forward now, so where are we at?
Which is the equivalent of about 3.5 million back then.
No, what are you talking? What? Okay, win. Listen, you win that debate. Let's just get. You know how you do crazy people. You're right. You're right, man. By the way, Man City and Arsenal went a right back, not a left back. So that's why Tino in that hole. But I mean, it could be that they just don't want. But your argument would be, well, what about other teams, right? But you could also look at other teams and see if they got a right back. I mean, Barcelona's got Balde, who to them is an unbelievable player. They don't need nobody else, right? So you got to look at what big teams have for that option and see.
But Arsenal apparently are going to put a bid in for Tino for 68 million. Would you accept it though? Because I wouldn't. But it's rumours.
But if he wants to leave, what are you going to do?
I wouldn't want him to go to Arsenal, but
yeah.
I would be tempted to accept 68 million. I just, I would hate to see him play for them, to be honest. But yeah. But the money that is good money, I think, for someone who's got an injury record that he has, and I love him. Don't get us wrong, but
me too. But 2 years left.
Yeah,
I would want a bit more. I think we could get a bit more.
Yeah,
and we've got to start being smart in the market.
Guy says 48 million that Shepherd never had win, hence why we were in debt, and Ashley cleaned it all out. There you go. Niall Powell says, let's go back to the 70s then while we're here. Exactly. We just keep going back in time and everything was, petrol, as you call it, was probably cent back in the day. It's just the way life goes, man. Doesn't mean that...
3 gallons for £1.
Come on, man. You know what I mean? By the way, this is statement that Mark Goldbridge said that I do agree with 100%. He got Lewis Hall the potential to be one of the best left backs in the world. You should be all over that player. Maybe, I'm assuming, Man United. I agree with that 100%. He's got one of the potential to be one of the best in the world. He's not yet. That's it, man. Slow down a little bit, Win. Slow down, man. You don't have to run. You don't have to run, man.
All I'm saying is, why are there no rumors?
Maybe they don't want him. You ever thought about that?
Well, that's what I can't understand. That's what I'm asking the question for.
Well, I just answered you.
If no one wants him, that's good for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There you go. Gavin Fuller says, Chris, you are talking 30 years of information. You can buy 10 times less today with $1 million than 30 years ago.
Well, yeah, I'm just looking at the world record transfer fee right now is 200 million. So if you do 200 divided by 15, that's what you get. And the equivalent.
Well, by the way, once again, numbers are just numbers. They don't determine anything. Because again, Man United bought Anthony for £80 million. He is not worth 10 of that. So it's just whatever people are willing to buy, whatever people are willing to sell for. That's it, man. That's it. You came from NUFC.
This started because I said we're a bigger team in '97 than we are now, and we were.
Like I said, I wouldn't have paid a pint for you to come to this channel, but NUFC Miters release you as a free agent. So you came in. I said it cost you now. Cost me now. So you know what I mean? Get him in. That's it, man. That's it.
And you've never looked back.
And then I never look back. And I want to. Becca, win maths. There you go. The math is not mathing, man. I'm telling you. Anyways, listen, we've had
as you would say.
We had a Kenny show. Good stories to talk about, of course. A big match that we played, but we didn't talk about this actually. Sorry about that. That's a story that crack staff Connor in charge has sent us to discuss. And Newcastle United manager Eddie Howe now wants defender Fabian Schär to sign an extension at the club with just over 3 months remaining on his current contract. Newcastle's transfer plans are already being formed for next season. And it has now become clear that Howe does not want to see Schär sign elsewhere. I mean, he's been hurt, but I mentioned my opinion was that we're never going to kick him to the curb. We're just going to give him another year and see how it goes. I believe as well, you didn't think that an injury was defining in this particular situation. No, you were saying, this is what you said. He said, well, it could be the end. It could be, what a way to go out. Bravo, what a way to go out. And I'm like, did he really say that? What do you mean, what a way to go out? He literally got carried out. So that's not a way to go out, man. And you were laughing about it. But no, the way to go out is off the pitch, him walking out, doing this to the stands, and going about his merry way. Not carried out, man. Wayne, you're knackered, man.
What a way.
You're like, what a way to go. Literally carried and crying.
If it was a tackle, right? If the tackle was like a last ditch tackle, you know what I mean? He's last man. He saves us from conceding. Then yes, that would be a heroic way to go out. But it was on the halfway line, wasn't it? So yeah, I would rather see him go out with a bit of an ovation from the fans, you know.
With another PSG goal.
That'll be.
Oh, that was outstanding.
Oh, that's a proper goal. That is a proper goal, man. Not against PSG. Well, no, he won't be back by Barcelona. Never mind. Well, we got to make it far if we're going to make it. Maybe at the end of the season, though. It could be a final. So you never know, baby. As they said, we got some stats about Barcelona that they haven't not scored at least 3 goals since December of last year. So they scored 3 goals at least at home. And so that's a knackering stat for us. But that just means we just got to score 4 goals. So there you go, baby. 4 goals, baby. Who's gonna do 4 goals? You pull Ultimate up top, things might happen. But if we put him on the bench,
we are not gonna.
You already know. Go on, Peter. What?
I said that old chestnut.
There you go. Folks, we'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, become a member, smash the like button on your way out. And
see Bodo Glimt continue that magic, and we'll see them in the semi-final.
And we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.
Well,